sexy.
Yeah, I've got a new little majig.
All right,
We're
going live now. All right, here we go.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What's the deal, Panther fans? It's the C3 Panthers post-game show. The Denver Broncos heading to Bank of America today and defeated the Carolina Panthers 32-27. Again, more opportunities to try to get things done late in this game, even after falling behind. But the Panthers cannot capitalize on a comeback. It's been a tough time for the Carolina Panthers over the last couple of weeks. I'm here to chop it all up. If I can get these guys' cameras up, we will get this game started. All right, it's close. It looks funny right now. Cody Lashney in the house. How you doing, my friend?
Tony Dunn, I'm doing fine, man. The tank is still on. The road to the franchise quarterback has not stopped. Denver did the most they could to help us out today. Listen, man, it's another one of those losses where our team did some good things. Our defense made some plays and gave our offense the ball at the end of the game, and our quarterback proves to be inept. Our offense is boring. It's not a team that's that far away. I genuinely believe that, but we have a bad quarterback right now. But listen, we're going to talk about it with the best Panther fans in all of YouTube, and I'm talking about Nirvash, Lance Kubiak, Supreme Leader, Matt Knows Nothing, Randy Trotter, Sarah Taylor, Brad Holt, Dakota Tumbleton, Nick Montanero, Tony Dunn. It's lit. Even 10 tissies in this bitch. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, baby. Let's roll.
Man, tough day today for the Carolina Panthers. Teddy Bridgewater seems to be allergic to the end zone when it comes to passing the football, and just not a good day today for anybody. The defense had a couple of plays that were helpful, but there were errors all over the board. Offense, special teams errors, and coaching problems. CK, man, tough watch today as the Panthers. Really, this is a game that you're circling on the schedule as one of the ones that they can and should win.
Yeah. At the beginning of the year, quite honestly, we've lost too many games we should have won. And what I'll say too, I want to go back and I want anybody who is a Teddy stan to circle a game where Teddy went and had a game-winning drive, because 7 games this year he had an opportunity to go down and have a game-winning drive. Let's forget about what happened in the first half with Teddy not existing whatsoever beyond the sticks, right? It just didn't happen. You go back and look at his every play he has. He pass short left, pass short right, pass short left, pass short right. You know, it's just very frustrating. I'm just here to say, and there are multiple failures today, right? You know, the biggest one, in my opinion, is a quarterback that is hot garbage, and you know, that's about it.
Yeah, the defense didn't do him any favors today, making Drew Lock look great today. 4 passing touchdowns for Drew Lock, 21 of 27, 280 yards. The Panthers secondary is in shambles, and penalties were a problem, extending these drives. The minivan man is not doing too well. In fact, if you
we have to talk about this. Did you hear what they said about his minivan on the broadcast? He doesn't want to be recognized. Bro, you ain't no fucking superstar, bro. No one's recognizing your ass around Charlotte. Straight up. You don't want to be recognized? Bro, that's the creepiest fucking answer for owning a minivan I've ever seen ever heard in my fucking life, bro. Dude, that shit had me rolling, dude. No one recognizes him. Come on, dude.
Nick Montiero with the super chat. We appreciate it, Nick. $4.99 love bomb in the chat room. He says Mr. Minivan does to the Panthers what his name says: 2 in the front, 5 in the rear of the Panthers behind. Ouch. Teddy Bridgewater does ride in a minivan, and I just assume that because he can't be a serial killer on the field, he's got to be one off the field. That's what you do. Hold your children tight when Teddy Bridgewater drives past. This is what I just clicked over on the Insights tab of the into the on NFL.com on our game, and this is the first one. It says losing streak continues. Teddy Bridgewater has lost 7 straight games, second longest single season streak in Carolina. We're on a skid right now. PJ did come in and help us get a win.
Been here a year.
Yeah, not a record that you want to have. All right, so where should we start? Oh, don't forget, smash the thumbs up button. This is what happens when you smash the thumbs up button so hard, folks. Over and over. Broke my thumb this week smashing the thumbs up button. So I don't need you to break your thumb, but just hit this, give us a little love. Share the link with a friend. Tell a friend about the podcast. Mention us on Twitter @cat_chronicles and be a part of the show. Calling in at the number 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Where should we start? I feel like starting with Teddy Bridgewater is getting
too easy. Yeah. Honestly, I was going to tell you when we started, I'm like, can we just say Teddy Bridgewater is who we thought he was and he continues to be that? He hasn't shown us anything exceptional. All right, now let's talk about what else is happening with the team.
Yeah, I mean, that I really feel like he's just doing the same thing each and every week, right? Is that
but doesn't it also bear repeating that he still put up the same kind of performance and Denver's top 3 cornerbacks were out? Like, even a bad football team doesn't have their best players, and we're still not able to take advantage of that. Like, now I feel like what we've said the past few weeks is starting to become even more true. Now we are looking at Teddy Bridgewater regressing even further. And then at the end of the game, he makes a few runs, and then everyone wants to be like, oh, give Teddy his credit. Dude, what fucking credit, man? We have seen this show before. It ends the same way. Our defense, for as bad as they are, man, they keep us in the football game. At the end of the game, our defense comes up and gets sacks, and even special teams made plays at the end. Dude, we're watching the same show on repeat over and over and over. I understand wanting us to say different shit, but it's kind of hard to.
Here's the problem I have too. Our only legitimate touchdown drive came within 3 minutes of the final quarter. Our only legitimate touchdown drive came within 3 minutes of the final quarter. That's a problem. You can sit there and say, oh, well, no, they had a quarter, touchdown. Nope. That was a fumble recovery that we took back to the 3-yard line. And then Mike Davis ran that in. Teddy had nothing to do with it. Quite honestly, he almost threw a pick in that instance. Right. And then you go fast forward to that play when we did drive down 28 yards. I would say I'd be interested to see the ratio of yards. What are the ratio of yards after catch to yards? That air yards.
We lead the league, man. I was my buddy told me this is that, and after today, I believe Robbie Anderson crept into the top 10, but he hosts sports trivia at a local bar, and one of the questions that he said it turned out being a tough question. A lot of people were guessing Robbie Anderson, and that is, we have a player who's top 10 in the league in yards, and they narrow it down. He gives them yes, no questions, 20 questions. And so you could say, is it in this division? Is it in, and you're narrowing it down. And he said a lot of people guessed Robbie Anderson. And he said it was a tough question because Robbie Anderson was number 11 and DJ Moore was number 9, right? It's crazy to think we have a receiving tandem right now that it leads the league ultimately, 2 top 10 players in reception yards. But we continue to have problems. We just allergic to the end zone when it comes to our offense. And, you know, you got to wonder, are these only yards after the catch? Is Teddy Bridgewater compiling yards late in the game? Is that why these receivers are so prolific? And it's pretty clear is we throw 5-yard drags and slants, and these guys get 8. They get 10. A lot. And even to the point where on 4th and 8, our go-to play was a 5-yard route. And the hope was really is that, we got fast enough players that generally we can make a little something out of this. And it didn't work out with a great tackle. So Teddy Bridgewater, played exactly like we've seen him play all year at this point. And I think it's a combination of his personality. I think it's like conservative Teddy, a lack of arms. He does not have a cannon, man. And so part of the reason that they say, oh, well, look at the offensive line, which played like hot garbage today. The offensive line was not playing well today. I think the reason that I don't think Teddy has the arm strength to fit it in tight windows, and he's nervous about that. And
he has negative arm talent.
Yeah.
Even from the near hash, throwing to the sideline, there is no zip to the football. A lot of people think arm talent is throwing the football deep down the field. It's not that at all. It's being able to throw and drive the football into a tight space, even when you have a defender breaking on the football. I mean, those are arm talent plays. And when it's time to move the football, those are so important because it makes 1st and 10, 2nd and 3. And then you can do whatever the hell you want. You want to run the football? Fine. You want to take a shot downfield? Fine. If you don't convert, it's 3rd and 3. Teddy Bridgewater doesn't have that. And a lot of people say that arm talent isn't important. A lot of quarterbacks know how to work around not having arm talent. But, dude, especially in today's NFL, you have to have a quarterback that can make the big-time throws. It matters for moments when you're trying to drive and put points on the board while there's still time left in the football game. It matters, it matters, it matters. And anyone telling you that it doesn't matter is out of their fucking gourd.
Greg's here. Greg coming into the C3 Panthers podcast. Hot. How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing all right, man. A little bit angry about what's going on with the Panthers, but it's been going on, the whole year. And my webcam here trying to get it set up. But yeah, dude, I'm ready to talk about what happened because I was just about to send you guys a text message about how great the 4th quarter was going to be and how I was proud of what was happening. And then things happened. So I'm ready to talk about football.
Greg, I'm telling you, every time you message, this is Teddy's shot. I think it's just bad luck for Teddy.
Yeah, I really do.
Scoot to your right like 3 inches. All right, so one of the things though is that I think what we learned today is what we kind of knew all along. And I think we're starting to get to this point, 7 straight losses with Teddy as quarterback right here. Guys, when I looked at this team and when I've seen the way we've lost in these 7 games, I don't feel that we're just a couple of pieces away and we can win with Teddy. That's the thing is that I don't feel like and no, are we missing Christian McCaffrey? Does that hurt? Yes. Is the offensive line, does it need a lot of padding and an overhaul? Yes. But I don't know if out of those 7 games, if our offensive line was that much better, if we would be that much different. And what I mean by that is I just feel like is that we kind of see what we've almost already hit the ceiling, I feel like, with Teddy. And that's a scary part to me is that, and I don't think we've seen anything as the season's progressed to undermine our thought that we should not be moving forward with him. right? Like, even for the people who said, oh, you're being too hard on him, this and that, I'm trying to sit here right now and say, have I seen anything from him that makes me confident in the least bit that we could be better next year with him at the helm? And I don't really think so.
No, nothing at all.
Why was the
Nothing at all.
offensive line so bad today? I mean, playing against Bradley Chubb, no chance. Russell Okung is done. I'm telling, it's over. His time in Carolina
he's more known for his takes on Twitter now than he is playing football. Which, by the way, I don't even disagree with a lot of his takes on Twitter. But the fact of the matter is, the dude is not a franchise left tackle, and it continues. It needs to continue. It needs to continue to be said that Greg Little, for the second game in a row, was a healthy scratch, and Trent fucking Scott is starting at left tackle. That is unacceptable.
What is going on there, particularly when you know that Russell Okung has been struggling with injuries throughout this season? He's had injuries be a problem for the last 2 seasons now, and he's been nicked up this year. So it's not like where is what is to read in those tea leaves that Greg Little is not even active? And what year is this for him? Is this only his second year? Third? He came in with
second.
DJ, right?
No, he came in second year. I think it's second year.
He came in with Brian Burns.
Yeah, so Brian Burns.
Okay. We traded up to draft Greg Little. And I watched every snap of his, and I always knew that he was soft and wasn't a franchise left tackle. Marty Hurney didn't know that, and in fact, he didn't know that so much that he moved up in the second round to draft him over Cody Ford, who is a badass right tackle for the Buffalo Bills right now. Dude, Marty Hurney needs to fucking go. I'll say it every Sunday, every Tuesday until the end of time. Until he is no longer a part of this organization.
Well, to me, this Greg Little pick is probably the biggest stain, the most, I think, notable. That coupled with Will Grier are the picks that right now just look like one is just bad, right? And the Will Grier one still, we've talked about it plenty. So that one's kind of like so ridiculous, though. You're like, oh, well, maybe it was wrong. Who knows? You're trying to figure out why that's the case. But I think when you throw into the fact that the Little pick was ahead of that one, that's even like we've got all these problems, right? And that he can't even be on the team right now. It's kind of like, oh man, is not only are these guys not that good, Rashad Golden, right? But they can't even stay on the team. We had a lot of problems on offensive line. I think right now is that no matter what, you can see the Carolina Panthers in this offseason in free agency going after both offensive linemen and having to tackle this in the draft. I don't think that this is something that can be fixed in just the draft only. I think that you're going to have to re-sign Taylor Moton. I think you're probably going to have to take 1 or 2 offensive linemen at the very least, very high in this draft. That is second, third round pick. Maybe starting to look at a center replacement. And you're probably going to need to go and get a respectable player in free agency to add to the group until those guys develop. The offensive line, Taylor Moton continues to shine, though.
Yeah, for sure continues to shine. And listen, he's one of the best, if not the best, right tackle in football right now. And he is a player that is important going forward for us. But the fact of the matter is we need a brand new left guard or right guard. Center, we have Matt Paradis for maybe another year?
Yeah,
maybe
another
2.
year, but he's already starting to deteriorate.
And now we know we need a franchise left tackle. I mean, it's crazy, man. We need an entire rebuild on the offensive line. We could use a couple of draft picks on the O-line. And you're right, some free agency moves wouldn't help either. We just have to hope that the right player is available in free agency. But hey, real quick, 68 people watching, 39 likes. Hit the thumbs up like you got some sense, man. That helps us share our videos to everyone in Panther Nation. Man, we're just bullshitting about the Panthers being y'all's your shrinks on a Sunday afternoon. So hit the like button.
I'm gonna go ahead.
Cody's that guy you like so much that he can kind of sort of insult you and you still like it. You got some sense, you know.
Hit the like button. Come on.
We're gonna go ahead and get into some of the cat calls. I want you guys to be thinking about how the secondary really shit the bed today. Poor Rasul Douglas. Tough matchup for him every week. They put him on 4-1, 4-2 speedsters. They put him on Jerry Jeudy, and he's had Mike Evans, and he's not even that good. But I mean, think about how bad we'd be without him. Today, the secondary is worse than ever, it felt like, and Dante Jackson was playing. Just think about that. 252-228-5098. Let's go ahead and jump into the calls.
What's going on, C3? It's Darius from Raleigh.
What's up, Darius?
I'm not even mad that we lost. You know, I want the future quarterback. And if you try to make any argument or defend us not drafting a quarterback, I can't call you a real Panthers fan. We need a new quarterback. We need a new quarterback. This game was blatant. Very blatant. I want Zach Wilson. Keep pounding.
Yes, I like that. Great call.
I'm just happy that we're not alone now, man. I feel like for a while this podcast was one of the only real Panthers podcasts that was leading the charge of Teddy Bridgewater and shit. Sadly, we were validated in those fears, and we're going to be validated again, man. We need a franchise quarterback that we do not have. And today was a win. Listen, I want you all to know, for as bad as this loss feels, it was a victory. It was a victory because right now I think we're still picking top 6, I believe. We still need a few things to happen our way. We could have a better pick if we keep on losing. That's the spot that you want to be in. So, dude, I'm telling you, man, today's a good day. It's a good day. I'm telling you, it's a good fucking day.
Dallas won today. Does that move them to 5 wins?
I don't know about 5.
Or are they
they're at 4.
now?
I think right now they're tied with us, but they have a draw, I think.
Yeah, when they won, I was like, that's the best possible thing that could have happened.
Good news is, yes, Dallas wins. The Jacksonville and Jets continue to be problems. But better news for us is that Atlanta got a win last week, I believe. They're at 4-8. We need Atlanta to continue to find ways to win at something.
Yeah, but they're playing the Chargers today, and the Chargers,
right? That's not going to help. The Giants losing, they have 5 wins. So you were kind of Denver today winning doubly helps us because they were a team that's probably quarterback hungry a little. And if we would have won, they move up in the draft and we move down. So this is kind of a good news day for us when it comes to that going forward.
Hey, this guy Gage, I think he's a wide receiver for Atlanta, just threw a gorgeous touchdown pass to Calvin Ridley. Had to have been 30 or 40 yards. A wide receiver just did that, and it was a beautiful pass. Teddy, take notes.
Also,
a wide
good
receiver
news for
just
us
did that.
Today was Chicago trouncing Houston continues to help us in that regard. The number's 252-228-5098.
Here's my thing about Teddy Bridgewater, man. This is your boy Jan seeing y'all back up again. But here's my thing with not only Teddy Bridgewater, but his apologists, the apologists, Big Cat, Panther coach, and all that. Here's my problem. They always blaming the weapons, the defense, and the linemen and stuff like that. Look, if you're a franchise quarterback, you know, granted, every quarterback needs protection, every quarterback needs weapons, every quarterback needs a defense. But sometimes when you have without, you supposed to lead your team. When you have without, everything don't work. Everything. A quarterback does not have every some franchise quarterback does not have everything in their grasp. You know. Like when Cam didn't have a great offensive line. He had a good defense, and he didn't have weapons. But, yeah, he was young. He made things work. you know, damn, everything got to be, you know, fitted for Teddy because
Perfect.
they saw something in New Orleans. People saw something in New Orleans, but understand that New Orleans had weapons, they had a defense, and they had, you know, alignment. You know, people did not realize that it wasn't going to work here because he didn't have that good of an offensive line. He wasn't going to have defense. So he was not going to be the same he was in New Orleans. I'm just saying. All right, y'all.
Well, you know, in some way, you're right, is that we're a different team than New Orleans was because New Orleans was arguably they've been one of the most complete teams for the last 3 years now. And interesting, though, even with that, they've had limitations in their own offense, right? I mean, there has been a sort of ceiling to how explosive their offense can be. And I got to tell you this, is that I think it shows that the reason that they haven't been able to advance deep in the playoffs is because they've had an elite defense and a pretty good offense, but not a great one. And when Teddy was in there, and maybe you guys can disagree with me on that, but I don't feel like this is the Saints offense of 2009 where Drew Brees is throwing like 50 touchdowns or whatever it is. You know, it's a little bit different. It's a little out. It's a lot of underneath stuff. It's very Carolina-esque in a lot of ways, but they tend to get more touchdowns than we do. And I'd like to remind, too, that Teddy, while he was involved in winning games in New Orleans last year, had one game where he was the engineer of it. The other ones, man, he threw like 12 times in one game. They won like 12-8 or something one game. I mean, it wasn't like even with a great team, he was still just okay. What we saw here is that, right, the Carolina Panthers offensive line is not fantastic, but this is not, I think the problem I have with Teddy, guys, is that it's okay. All right, the pocket breaks down, he scrambles, it's a good play. The pocket breaks down, he gets sacked. All right, you can say, well, the offensive line really stinks. They're losing their matchups. But when the offensive line does hold up, nothing ever good comes out.
Never. And
where is the upside, right?
I've been very big on this too. There has never been any evidence that Teddy Bridgewater is a franchise quarterback. I said this too, even when he was with the Saints. Like, we do not have the roster that the Saints have. We don't have their offensive line, and we don't have the defense that can make up for Teddy Bridgewater's inaccuracies. Now everyone's seeing Teddy Bridgewater for who he actually is once you put him on a lesser football team that expects him to carry the load. I maintain that our offense is only similar to the Saints because we don't have a quarterback that can throw the football down the field. This was not a problem for LSU when they won the national championship. It was not a problem for them.
Well, and maybe we could even say that about the Saints offense is maybe the reason their offense looks like the way it does is because they don't really have a quarterback that can throw down the field.
But now they do.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. They're about to be losing to Jalen Hurts. You just threw us a touchdown. Alshon Jeffrey. I'm cheering for the Eagles today, homie.
Nice.
And that helps us too. The more they win.
Yeah, that helps us for sure. If the Saints lose today, that's a fucking good thing.
Oh, flag. Speaking of flags, guys, a lot of penalties today on the Panthers, and I don't feel like maybe we have been a heavily penalized team this year. I'm not sure. I felt like they said we had a lot of penalties and Denver didn't have a lot of penalties throughout the year. But today, I guess we have. On defense, we've had Derek Brown, who has been a penalty machine all year. I feel like our secondary doesn't get a ton of penalties. But today, a lot of untimely penalties. I think you saw Matt Rule really pissed off at that first one, boy. Matt Rule was on fire after Brian Burns gets ringed up for a roughing the passer penalty that just seemed normal. Guys, though, the Jermaine Carter one led to a touchdown. That one really hurt. That's the difference in the game, to be honest.
That
And by the
special
way,
teams
Well,
touchdown.
and a special teams punt return touchdown. That
and
was
listen, man, I saw people on Twitter. Oh, dude, I don't even care that we got a penalty. This is a linebacker making a play when our linebackers never do. Dude, if it was because of that penalty that we weren't able to get off of the field, our defense isn't shit and hasn't been shit all year. What are you flexing for, bro? You're going to stand over the top of someone, flex on him, and not expect to get a penalty called on you? That
That's
was
also a
bullshit,
stupid
man.
penalty. It's a stupid penalty too, but I get
It's
totally get what you're saying.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. The rules aren't about to change. That's
Yeah.
what the rules are. If you stand above a man and flex on him, then you're a dumbass and you deserve the penalty.
It does.
Yeah, it was
I know he's caught up in the moment, and it was you know you can. He's a guy that's fighting for time, and he's been playing all right.
Mhm.
It's just inexcusable. You know, that's the thing is it is a dumb penalty. It's an unnecessary one. It's one that you could say, look, is some penalties you can recover from, but they were on the doorstep. You stopped them. You're going to hold them to a field goal at that point, which was not guaranteed given the way the kicker had been kicking those extra points.
Mhm.
You know, or maybe it was even a fourth down, to be honest. I can't remember if it was third or fourth down, but you're right. It's a penalty. How about this? That's not going to ingratiate you to coaching staff.
No.
Right.
No, and they scored the touchdown because of Jermaine Carter.
Yeah.
Like,
It
on Brian
wasn't
Burns,
like it wasn't like Burns's Burns's penalty where you are trying to make a play and you're just making a play, right?
did what you were supposed to do. Burns rolled to his side. If you watch that play, Brian Burns didn't land directly on top of Drew Lock. He turned and landed on his left fucking shoulder, bro. Brian Burns did what he was supposed to do. Jermaine Carter gave the Broncos offense a touchdown.
Yeah. What good things did you guys see today? I actually saw some good things. I know the defense didn't look great and we gave up some big plays, but I think we're getting better against the run, man.
Bro, I'm not gonna be on this hill all the time. I'm sure there's gonna be a bad game. I still have yet to see a play where Chin doesn't make a good play.
Yeah,
like
he's every game he's involved.
Dude, like even the tackles he makes, he does not miss tackles. Like, and if he does, it's so rare. It's not even something that I recognize. Like I was watching him take down these running backs who in open field one-on-one, he's able to wrap up their legs and get them down. I'm like, I just was thinking, my mind was blown at how well he was doing at just tackling. And then you have the extra stuff on top of it, the pressures, the sacks, the, tackle, the really important tackles. I mean, it's just, and obviously the fumble. I mean, dude, man, I'm having a hard time telling you who else could be a better recipient of this defensive player of the year. Honestly, or defensive
rookie of the year. He was getting love
year.
in the broadcast. He was getting love in the broadcast from the color commentator. What was his name again? He was a former wide receiver.
I can't remember.
I thought too,
but he was very confident in his history.
Yeah, another.
The entire time he was talking about how he would do if he was in this game.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, so and I should know his name. The other thing that was, I think, the unsung hero, the guy that does the same thing you're saying about Chin, like we've yet to see a game where he doesn't make a big splash play, is Brian Burns. Brian Burns was the one that sack that Jeremy Chin got was caused because of the disruption that Brian Burns. And you want to talk about the bend and the getting skinny that Cody talks about. I saw him get skinny going inside this time.
Yep.
He's a force, man, and he's been playing really well. I think that you look at a team where you got the Denver Broncos who have had, just problems at quarterback for years. We were able to take away the run from them. I really, and let me see how much they rushed the ball. I did not feel like they were rushing the ball effectively. Melvin Gordon had 68 yards. Lindsay had 24 yards. And I want to say Melvin Gordon had a big chunk run. That's why he got some of those. The defense, though, despite them not being great and giving up some big plays, is oddly not keeping us from winning. They're actually putting us in a position to win. What about that kick, guys, by Sly, where he's
beautiful, bro.
Yeah,
that thing.
perfect.
We almost damn got the ball.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you that was exactly what you want to do in that situation. I think if you do that 100 times, you maybe hit that 10 times
Maybe
in that position.
I thought it was. I think it goes out of bounds
perfect,
10 times.
Perfect, yeah.
You do
there
that
was a lot of
100
luck involved with it because you're right. If it goes out of bounds,
where
you just
it's
gave him the ball,
crappy.
Super Bowl all over again.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. All right, the number's 252-228-5098.
Oh man. And I thought having strep throat this last week was the most disappointing thing I'd have to deal with, in the first half of December here. And my God, it's 4th and 8. Game on the line.
2 yards.
And Teddy throws a 3-yard pass. Oh my God. Who is this piece of shit that we're paying all this money to? Man, if you're a Panthers fan, you're on Twitter right now and you're lighting this bum up. You're letting him know that this shit is so stale and so fucking old and so fucking tired.
Not wrong.
Like, dude, that is low-level fucking play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not championship caliber football, and it's never going to be with Batman under center. He's an embarrassment to the Carolinas and Panther fandom as a whole. And if you're supporting him, I'm sorry, but you look like nothing short of a, and I don't use this term lightly, fucking retard. He's that bad. Oh, well, he had that one drive. Dude, great quarterbacks don't have one good drive a game. They have a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're out of the great quarterback conversation. Don't worry about that.
No
it's like we're talking about even decent.
You know what they
anymore.
do? They look at that, they nod their head yes, and they go out and they win the fucking game.
Yep.
The man has no dog in him.
None.
He has no fight in him.
None.
He never has.
Nope.
And he never will. So y'all can stop pretending that he's some kind of fucking answer to some prayer. I mean, I don't know who's praying for an abomination like that to befall them. But, man, it has befallen all of us. So whoever's praying for this shit can knock it off because I'm about over it. For real.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I want this team to win a bunch of games at this point, but I wanted to see effort. And I saw that out of the defense. I mean, I saw the risk-reward
especially after getting punched in the mouth a couple of times.
It is what it is, and we gave up a few too many, but, like, we went 3 and out, the first 3 drives we had the ball?
Yeah.
Yeah, the moral of the story seemed to be, well, if Mike Davis can't carry us down the field, or if I can't find Robbie Anderson, then, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's the same weekly sad state of fucking affairs. And I urge you all, get on Twitter and get on Teddy's case. Let this man know that Panther Nation thinks he fucking sucks. Because he does. He deserves to know it. Josh from Mass, out.
14 touchdowns. 14 passing touchdowns in 11 games for Teddy Bridgewater. The stats are low, man. 2,800 yards. I guess the yards are high. That's where, in the passing percentage.
The argument people have is his yards and his completion percentage.
But the yards are going down, y'all. I mean, what would you say, 2,800? It looks like he's going to finish the season with maybe like 3,500. That's okay, but that's not great.
Bad Daddy was right. There's no difference between Kyle Allen and Teddy fucking Bridgewater. Bad Daddy was right. We all need to bow at the fucking altar because that's what it is. Everyone wanted the clown man and say, oh, whatever, Teddy Bridgewater's better. Well, that take is looking better and better and better, man. We are no different with Teddy Bridgewater than we are Kyle Allen. It's limited quarterbacks that don't throw the football downfield, that don't come off their first read, that aren't overly mobile, that aren't overly sturdy, that have zero arm talent. Yeah, man, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. And I want to ask, too, this goes back to the caller right before Josh from Mass. He brought up the point of Bridgewater working in the New Orleans system because he had the weapons and everything else. The fact that the coaching staff, the scout team, everybody else doesn't recognize that, don't we have to give some fault to them to Rule and Brady and say, okay, you guys didn't recognize that it wasn't going to work in the system the same way? Like, I mean, I feel like I always want to give a lot of blame to Teddy Bridgewater, but you guys know my position with the coaching staff too. So
I think that, and here there's a couple ways of looking at this, right? Is that we could say that this coaching staff blew it, that Joe Brady blew it by thinking that he could do more than with Teddy than he could, right? And that they're kind of eating their words. That's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it, though, could be that Teddy is well versed enough in the offensive system to where Joe Brady could get his sea legs with him a little bit in the NFL, and it would be just good enough for him to get better as a coach and an offensive coordinator, but not good enough to win. And maybe now here is the thing. Did you guys listen to, who was it that sent us on Twitter? Someone sent us the link to the 1-day contract.
Yeah, that was actually a good listen. Yeah.
And Colin, he used to be on WFNZ back in the day. He's a great. He always has cool discussions. But in this discussion, he said that he believes that he sees evidence that this coaching staff is actually losing on purpose.
What did he say? What did he call it? I can't remember. What was the?
He said, "Are politely tanking,
gracefully."
Artistically
no, not gracefully tanking. It was gracefully.
One was artistically tanking or something. Yeah. One was politely or gracefully letting games slip away.
Yeah. That's
I
what he
don't
was
really
saying.
agree with it. Is that I didn't agree with the take necessarily from what is the idea. Who's like, look, we didn't run the ball at all when we had a chance. He would give these examples, but one thing that was funny to me was politely tanking or whatever really means giving the ball to Teddy Bridgewater at the end of the game.
Yeah,
and he was like, well, this is what we're trying to do.
To add on to that, credit to Dakota Tumbleton for tagging me on Twitter. Matt Rule in his press conference today, when asked about Teddy Bridgewater going forward, if he thinks he's still the guy for the job, Matt Rule says, absolutely. I think that all of us have to continue to work together to improve. We were down 15 and he brought us back and they scored again. I'm not going to pin it on him. Now, listen, I know this isn't the type of shit that ingratiates Matt Rule to say the Bat Daddy very well. I understand that. But at the end of the day, to me, I don't take that for anything. I don't take that as him lying. I take that as him just being like, well, look, our front office paid this guy, whatever, $63 fucking million. There's no way that we're not going to start the guy that we paid all that money to. And by the way, if there is some credence to that the Panthers are trying to gracefully let the game slip away or whatever, then, hey, there might be some credence to that they think Bridgewater is the guy to put us in a better position to lose.
He's actually doing exactly what we want him to do.
Right, man. So, hey, we're Tim Bridgewater after all, baby.
But to be fair, in that same token, then why do the 3-year contract and put us in a bind next year from a cap?
There you go.
Exactly. Well, I think one is that you have to just one is that it's like they do have an agent working for them, So
chat saying we have to adjust to Teddy Bridgewater.
But my point being is you had Kyle Allen on the team, right? You could have done it with Kyle Allen without having to sign somebody to a $67 million contract. You could have just went with PJ Walker or Will Grier, but instead you decided to sign a 3-year contract for a quarterback who had 5 games of experience last year that were really kind of up and down, even if you look at it. I think we all, when he was signed, obviously we were hurt by the thought that Cam Newton was being let go in favor of this guy. So I think we were looking at it with a negative, mindset already. But reality is when you go back and you look at it, he didn't, people were trying to put him in the MVP category for those 5 games. Like, it's just a joke to me. Like, when you watch the highlights of those games, Teddy Bridgewater was just a benefit of being on a good team, just like what I'm seeing right now with Taysom Hill on Saints when I'm watching these games right now.
Yeah, and Tony, you raised a great point earlier about this. What if it is a situation where, Rule and Brady came together and said, "Okay, look, we're gonna give Bridgewater this money, so it looks like we're trying because you signed Bridgewater, you're definitely trying, you're definitely not tanking, but we know he's going to take us to the promised land of a top 3 draft pick to get what we really need."
It's kind of
What if they said we'll tank this year, but if we have to,
I think Teddy's like, and I was going to ask you guys this is Joe Brady's stock going up or down right
it's not
now?
going up. What's it going up based off of?
Okay. And if that's the case, is the biggest mistake by Joe Brady so far Teddy Bridgewater? Cody, your thoughts on this? Teddy delay a game today. Teddy just man, I don't know. I want to know what people think the best case scenario with Teddy Bridgewater is. Like I'm asking you guys this, is that if we're looking at the New Orleans Saints with a top defense, great weapons on offense, and a Hall of Fame, and a Hall of Fame quarterback, and right now their ceiling for the last 2 years has been one and done in the playoffs pretty much, or whatever it is. They just have not had the oomph to keep up with the top team that year. Right? I mean, like, is whoever, if it's Kansas City, if it's LA and the Patriots, they have not been the best team in the league. And even though they have a 10-2 record, does anybody really want to say that they should be favored to win the Super Bowl? I'm not really sure how I would feel about how confident I would be in that. But if you put Teddy Bridgewater, what type of team, even if you have the best offense or a good offensive line and best defense in the league, how far can you really go with them?
The San Francisco last year, I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. That is the best that you could ever hope for. And even still, you're hoping that it puts you over the edge with a legendary defense like a Baltimore Ravens defense when they won with Trent Dilfer or Joe Flacco, or, when the Broncos won with the geriatric Peyton Manning, who also couldn't go 15 yards. Yeah, man. Like, listen, those teams never repeat for a reason. They never repeat for a reason. All the teams year in and year out that we know are going to be legitimate contenders, like the Steelers, like the Seahawks, like the Chiefs. I mean, we know that they have a franchise quarterback, and that makes them a legitimate contender. Like, it is what it is. And by the way, you don't draft franchise quarterbacks. They don't normally fall, up. I mean, who knows? You pick the best quarterbacks in the top 10. That's where the Panthers are picking them right now. We need to pull the trigger on it right now. This nonsense of having to build up the team first means nothing. We can draft offensive linemen in the same draft. Okay, we can do all the things that we need to do and draft our quarterback of the future. And this is the year to do it, man. All the top 4 guys have A+ arm talent, A+ mobility. They're smart. I mean, listen, you have to take a chance. You cannot be afraid to miss, or you will always be a mediocre bullshit football team.
Right. And, Cody, building on a team, you're absolutely right. You've got to build a team starting with the quarterback, because if you build everything up around that quarterback, around what you're going to draft as a quarterback, which you never know you're going to get, what if you built that entire team up and then the quarterback is a bust?
Well,
if you draft the quarterback first and he's a bust, okay, cool. We've wasted a year. If we've waited 3 or 4 years to build for a quarterback we've been shooting for, and that quarterback ends up being a bust, we've wasted that much more time.
Then you run into a situation like you have in the Bengals, where now Joe Burrow's out with an ACL injury, and yes, it is possible to recover from those, but we also know there have been players that come back from that and not be the same ever again. I mean, it's not necessarily going to be the case for him, but I mean, you're risking putting the longevity of a quarterback's career in jeopardy by not doing that. I mean, we see what happened with Cam Newton, and everybody can talk about Cam Newton all you want. I'm telling you, I've been watching, and he makes some good throws, but he still looks like he's pushing that ball down the field way too hard. Like, he is putting every effort he can when he's trying to put that ball down the field. And it doesn't feel like it's the same Cam Newton, and I hate to say that.
Yeah. And Cody, I think they can. Yeah, there you go. I think they can start PJ Walker, even if they paid Teddy Bridgewater all that money. Look what they're doing in Philly. They paid what's his name, Wentz, a lot more money, and they're playing Hurts just because Wentz wasn't playing well.
Yeah, but
I don't see any reason why you can't do that.
They still have an outside chance to win their division.
Yeah,
but that's the crazy shit about it. That's not true for us.
If Tampa Bay would have lost today, you can make an argument that our division is almost as bad as their division. If Tampa Bay would have lost today, go look at the records. Like,
I mean, they're all those teams are pretty bad.
All the teams are garbage.
Dude, the point remains the same. Listen, PJ will be able to do the things that he did against the Lions and flip the field. And to me, that's just too dangerous for a team that's trying to lose, man. I don't want to win.
Yeah, the plan is working right now.
Yeah,
Team Money's in here and he's talking about, I picked Teddy over Cam right now because I asked him that. Would you pick him? I asked him next week. It's like next week if you had your pick between the two, who would you pick? And he said Teddy. And his Cam hasn't thrown any touchdowns this year, but he's run for a bunch. But I just think that Teddy, even if that's the case, I think that Cam's might be done, right? Like, the second phase of Cam's greatness doesn't look like it's on the horizon anytime soon. Mm-hmm. I just don't know when any phase of Teddy Bridgewater's greatness is on the horizon. And if we went through all the quarterbacks in the league, you almost got to say, how many would you pick to put on the Panthers for 1 week over Teddy, right? And I think you're probably talking about 2/3 of the quarterbacks that you would say, I'd take him over Teddy. I'd take him over Teddy. I'd take him over Teddy. And I'm trying to think of, and you're talking about dumpster teams right now that you wouldn't say that. Like
I'll make an even more controversial statement. I would take Alex Smith over Teddy.
Yeah,
sure,
dude. Yeah, they're getting it done right now. I agree. I think he is black Alex Smith, but maybe not even as good. Teddy Bridgewater has look, man. He hasn't won a game for us in his last 7 starts.
He hasn't won 3 in a row. But he won 3 in a row, Tony, and he throws 75% and goes 13 completions in a row.
It's so stupid that people are still
exactly.
The problem is doing it. I'm telling you guys, you cannot point out a single game this year where he has went on a game-winning drive and won. You can't, because he is not a clutch quarterback. You can say that he got him in range with Joey Sly with 2 weeks ago with the Vikings. The problem with that mindset is
those guys are all playing prevent defense in those situations too.
Yes, even today, you want to sit there and credit him for 120 yards that were in a prevent defense type of a situation.
You were begging him to throw down the field in the easiest of windows, biggest of throwing lanes.
And can we talk about how much better are even Mike Davis making it to the sideline? Like, these guys were getting yards after the catch, and it makes Teddy look so much better. You can sit there and go to the first quarter, and when people weren't getting yards after the catch, guess what? Teddy's numbers were absolutely garbage. Garbage.
6 for 6.
But he was 100%. I kept on saying from the get-go, I was keeping track with Twitter. I was like, 100% completion rate, 0 yards. 100% completion rate, 4 yards. 100% completion rate, 20 yards, but 15 of those were after the catch. It's frustrating, man.
Hey, how about this, man? I want to stay on this. Our offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator are limited in what they're able to do. And I want to jump back to the defense for just a second, because you saw every time that Phil Snow did what Panther fans wanted to and got aggressive, you saw what happened. Drew Lock burned us every time, him and Jerry Jeudy. Listen, our offensive coordinator and our defensive coordinator are limited by the guys they have on the roster. A lot of our guys in the defensive backfield will just completely miss their assignments and just have a guy be wide open, or a guy will get juked out of his shoes and not be able to recover in time.
Mhm.
Like our defensive backfield still needs work. So that's why I've been telling everyone you have to pump the brakes on Phil Snow. It's the first year for everyone.
Yeah.
For Matt Rule, for Phil Snow, for Joe Brady, for everyone. This thing needs some time to cook. It needs more pieces. We do not have the prerequisite ingredients right now to build a contender, and yet we're still tied in the NFL for the most 7 games where we've won by 1 score or less. I mean, come on, man! Like
I like
we're
that.
not
Look,
that far.
I pulled up the starting. This is from before the season started, so but it's just a list of quarterbacks. Would you take if you had to start a player next week? Would you start Carson Wentz or would you start Teddy Bridgewater?
Yeah, that's tough
Okay,
because I'm not
that's
trying to think
tough
Carson
because
Wentz. He's pretty horrible right
Wentz got benched, right? But we're talking about it's tough to pick between a guy who just got benched and Teddy Bridgewater. How about this? All right, so Dwayne Haskins, Alex Smith. Would you start Alex Smith or Teddy Bridgewater?
Sure, Alex Smith.
Okay.
now. Alex Smith, but I wouldn't have said that at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
Because I didn't know what Alex Smith was
because
gonna do,
you
know?
want to talk about a dog of when a comeback injury. Alex Smith had a far more devastating injury than, or just, I mean, I think it was even worse because of the infection.
By the way, can I just say that I'm not defending Carson Wentz either. I think he might be another Ryan Tannehill, a guy that leaves and gets out of the situation that he's in. Because, dude, as far from a physical perspective, a lot of times when you're talking about quarterback, you're drafting traits. And he has all the traits. He has the arm talent, the size, the mobility, but he's just playing like absolute dog shit.
Yeah. I mean, he's having a bad season, so I'm not ready to say he's done as a football player, but he's not at his stock is not high. It's at an all-time.
No, but it would not be hard to
offensive line. Yeah.
I wouldn't call you crazy for believing that Carson Wentz still has a brighter NFL future than Teddy Bridgewater.
So would you do this trade? Would you trade Carson Wentz and take his contract straight up for Teddy Bridgewater and his contract?
No.
That way they could have a backup quarterback, somebody to train Jalen Hurts.
No.
And we get Carson Wentz for
the Bears are going to need to go
$60 million.
I don't know. Right now is Carson Wentz ain't going to I don't even think he can command a second round pick right now, which is crazy because Josh Rosen went for a second. What a steal.
So he'll be a Patriot next year.
All right, let's keep going with how about this?
That's where his offensive coordinator went.
Yeah.
Here's another one. I think Teddy wins this battle. Mitchell Trubisky or Teddy Bridgewater.
I've seen Mitchell Trubisky be able to manage a game better.
I've seen Teddy being able to manage a game. I take Teddy Bridgewater over Mitchell Trubisky.
I choose
Yeah, I was gonna say it's pretty close to being the same.
Look at Mitch's stat line from today.
Is it good?
Yeah, today
he had a good day. They had their best offensive game of the season though today.
Yeah, but Teddy's stat line was good, except for
we have 94 people watching and 54 thumbs up. Hit the like button, man. We're sitting here bullshitting about the Panthers. You're having more fun watching this podcast than you did today watching the Broncos beat the shit out of us. Hit the like button. Share this show with other Panther fans. Fucking let's do it, baby. Come on.
Tyrod Taylor or Teddy Bridgewater?
Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod. Yeah,
the same. They're
kind of the same player.
Yeah,
a little bit. I think Tyrod Taylor probably is a little bit.
I think Tyrod has better legs than Teddy does.
Oh yeah,
Tyrod by like 0.5.
Yeah, it's not much.
Right. Okay, but still, we're in the bottom of quarterbacks. Right? Like some of these discussions, it's not clear cut. That's what I'm saying. It should be Teddy. If we're being too hard on Teddy Bridgewater, it should be more clear cut with Mitchell Trubisky. It should be more clear cut with a Tyrod Taylor, Gardner Minshew, or Teddy Bridgewater.
He was impressive last year.
I would take Minshew. He's younger.
He's kind of a gun. He's a fine. If wins are the stat that matters, Gardner Minshew can find ways to win games. Even
You just
here
love that man.
is
You
when
love
I
that.
think how about this is Daniel Jones or Teddy. I think I'd take Teddy
No.
over Daniel Jones.
No,
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
So much more
No.
potential.
Younger, faster, tougher.
I've seen some really impressive
was-
plays by
He
Jones.
was over.
He
He
can't
was
throw it
overdrafted.
though. He can't pass. He can't pass at all. He's
can do better than
all of his
Bridgewater.
He's like Cam right now. Drew
They
Lock
beat Seattle.
or Teddy Bridgewater.
Drew Lock.
Based on what Drew
Y'all
Lock did
saw
today, Drew
Y'all
Lock.
saw that? Yeah, that
You kidding me? Yeah, based on what he did today. What was he? 3 for 3 for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns.
say what
Something
you
like
want
that.
about Drew Lock. That
Yeah.
man will chuck the football downfield.
Sam
bro.
And you got
Darnold,
receivers
would
that
you-
can run
59-yard touchdown. Yeah, I mean, all air yards.
Mm-hmm.
If you were drafting a quarterback to play on the Panthers next week, I mean, not drafting, you had your choice between these two. They're the only two. Who would you pick? Sam Darnold or Teddy Bridgewater? I'm taking Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah,
I think Sam
do Sam
Darnold,
Darnold.
bro. He has the traits. He's just been on a shitty team, and he hasn't been given an opportunity with a good offensive play caller.
He's been on
Yeah,
like 3 shitty teams, right?
Similar to Carson.
If you're a franchise guy, that's the same thing Teddy Bridgewater. At some point in time, you've got to turn it around. He's been on like 3 teams, I think, hasn't he?
I do feel
No.
bad for any player that's had to play under Adam Gase for an extended period of time. That must be fucking hell, man. Everyone
I think it's Sam
him,
Bradford. I'm sorry.
everyone that leaves him ends up like rejuvenating their career under another coach.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But a lot of people in the chat say Sam. I would also say
Would take
Sam.
Sam.
It's
Yeah, I would take
similar
Sam.
it's similar to Carson Wentz, like
Mhm.
maybe with a change of scenery,
Right.
a smaller market, a younger offensive coordinator.
Mhm.
Yeah, like that might be salvageable.
Here's the
problem
I think
is-
there's only one other one in the league where you would have an argument, maybe two. All right, so we'll give you, since T Money said he would take Teddy over Cam. So, okay, maybe you would say that. I don't think I would do it. I think I would still take Cam over Teddy. And the final one in the whole league where I think it's even a conversation is Jimmy Garoppolo or Teddy Bridgewater.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
I would take Teddy is because I feel like Garoppolo has regressed a lot. So I feel like you can't even hold on to the fact that he used to win a lot of games anymore.
They are the same person.
Right.
They're the
But
same
after that,
football
there's
player.
nobody in the league. There's not a single quarterback in the league you would take Teddy over.
But
And
keep
that
in mind,
includes Ryan Tannehill, Baker Mayfield. That includes Jared Goff. That includes all of those dudes. Sorry, I would take everybody over him. That's how bad. So for people, I think that should be part of the argument.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
that he's in the bottom 5 of people that you would want to be starting at quarterback on your team.
Mhm.
Yeah, man.
and also I would be interested, out of the top 10 quarterbacks that have been taken over the past 10 years, how many have actually been busts? Sam Darnold, you can maybe argue, Josh Rosen, but then we start moving to
Well,
Josh
you were
Allen.
about
we
to
start
argue
moving to Patrick
Baker.
Mahomes.
Baker was about to be a bust.
But Baker has still got the talent. Like, I mean,
He's
even
still
if you-
pretty good.
well,
He's
the
good.
Browns, the Browns are a testament to how important a head coach is.
yes.
I mean, they've had a bunch of years of top picks for being terrible, and Kevin Stefanski is the real deal, and they're running the football, so they're not putting the ball in his hands, man.
Yep.
Josh Allen, so much. Listen, guys, Trevor Lawrence could bust. Justin Fields could bust. If any of these players go to the wrong place that doesn't, 1, protect them, 2, put a good play caller around them, 3, put offensive weapons on the perimeter, all of these guys have bust potential. It's not a surprise that Josh Allen goes to Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott continues to prove himself, and you continue to see Josh Allen getting better and better and better. Like, the coaching staff matters. And we paid Matt Rule for what, another 7 years? Like, that guy is supposed to be our constant and our team builder. That's why I'm more confident in us taking a quarterback. We have a position that isn't going to make a quarterback die as soon as they get here.
Yeah, I mean, every player could be. I do agree with that. I think that's a strong argument you make is let's not be handcuffed by fear
Right.
in that. I do think, though, that you can, when you say you draft quarterback traits, Cody, is that
Yeah.
that can be detrimental in its own right. I mean,
Sure.
Position's changing.
you can draft people that check boxes.
Yeah, and they fail.
I think Mitchell
Jamarcus
Trubisky,
Russell.
Blake Bortles is one of those. But
Jamarcus
if you're
Russell-
in a
Jamarcus Russell
position,
had all the talent.
if you're in a position and you have the opportunity, I don't think right now there could be an argument for picking a player over a quarterback if you're in the top 5. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I just like do we need a shutdown corner? Yes. So if we have the choice of getting the 5th best quarterback or the top corner, all right, let's talk corner. If we have the 6th best quarterback available in the draft or the 4th best, and you think it's kind of a reach, and you got an opportunity to get the best left tackle, then do it. But if you have an opportunity to pick a guy you think could really be the dude, I think you got to do it. I think you got to do it. Is that because there's too many times. In many ways, you could just say that, like, I mean, there's just too many Denver Broncos quarterbacks out there. Like, is that they've been searching for it too, and really, the Browns have been searching for it for 40 years or something like that.
And I will say this too. I mean, I put a tweet up that said that Teddy Bridgewater was not the problem, but nor was he the solution early in the season.
Mhm.
Teddy Bridgewater is by far the biggest problem on this team now. And T-Money, he comes in with a fair argument. He says, really? Not you don't think the corners are the biggest problem? That's wild. Guys, let's just put it into a microscope here. The Broncos had their 3rd string corners on the field today. We had our starters, right? And with a good quarterback, they were able to beat us.
Mm-hmm.
Corner is important. Quarterback is more important.
And the problem with the corners argument is it's the entire secondary needs to be better. So it's not even just one. So even just adding a top corner is not going to make that unit all of a sudden the best unit in the league. Or top 5. Right now, we have problems everywhere. You need 2 corners and a safety.
Yeah,
that's what you need.
That's the way you want to change it. Even the best non-quarterback football player is probably Aaron Donald, right? That guy's a fucking game wrecker. He doesn't even count for 1 point in Vegas. So if he is or isn't on the field, he doesn't count for as much as a quarterback does. Quarterback is the most important position on the team. It's the most important position in the sport of football. If you don't have it, you don't have a shot. And it is what it is, man.
I would take Aaron Donald over Teddy Bridgewater. I would take Aaron Donald over I don't want us to pick a quarterback over Teddy Bridgewater. We don't want to pick a quarterback we don't believe in. That's my entire point of saying, like, is that if you have the shot to get a guy you really think could be the dude, kind of like we were interested in Justin Herbert last year. I don't want us to be scared to pull that trigger. That's not what, but I also don't want us to be backed into the corner of picking a quarterback that we just for the sake of doing it. And look, the Eagles just went up, scored a big time touchdown.
Oh my God.
Miles Sanders with a big touchdown run. We'll see what Taysom Hill does when he's 17 points behind, guys, today. The number is 252-228-5098.
By the way.
What's that?
He doesn't look good, by the way.
Oh, and the other thing is that we can have the discussion about walking and chewing bubble gum or rolling and chewing bubble gum. This team needs a lot of help.
Are you saying I can't walk? That's fucked up, bro.
Wow.
Are you saying, hey, the truth, right?
Hey, man. my jump shot is fucking insane. My taekwondo kicks, bro, I'll take the hair right off your head. Come on, bro.
But we need. I like that. I think that is a great point you make, Cody. All the time is by saying we need a quarterback doesn't mean that we don't believe we need an offensive line and corners in the secondary.
Right. Yeah, we can have both of those.
We need both of those things.
Yes.
No matter who the quarterback is and how great they are, if they are on a shitty team, they can only do so much. Deshaun Watson. Yeah. Right? I mean,
I feel so bad for Deshaun right now. He's getting his ass whooped, yo.
The number's 252-228-5098.
So, why the fuck, when we need 7 yards to keep the game alive, do we throw the ball short of the goddamn line of scrimmage? Not even short of the first down line, short of the line of scrimmage. Like, why? Like, I get, Teddy's the king of checkdowns, but and again, I wasn't watching the game. I was listening to it on the radio because I was at work, but just from the way the announcers were talking about it, they said that there were options down the field. And we choose to throw it short of the line of scrimmage. I don't get it, man. We need to make a move on Teddy. He's trash. He's not the future. And, I mean, honestly, at this point, the season's kind of over. And I'm kind of with Cody on, being all in on just let's tank the rest of the year. Let's lose every game.
I don't think we have
at this point, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. But, yep. Hopefully we can keep moving in the right direction this offseason. As always, I appreciate what you guys do. And y'all have a good one.
You're the man. Thanks for calling into the show. 252-228-5098.
Yo, this is DJ in Raleigh. Yes.
What's up, DJ?
Ooh, child. I don't know. I do have to say, all in all, I'm going to talk about the defense first. They made a lot of mistakes today.
A ton.
But also, when it came clutch time, they also made some big plays.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of catch-22 with them. Teddy was inaccurate all game until late in the fourth quarter, until he finally realized Curtis Samuel existed.
Yeah.
And then on that last drive, to check down on 4th and 8 is inexcusable.
Mm-hmm.
I just get tired of saying it every week. We need a new quarterback. You just can't do that as an NFL quarterback. You cannot check down on 4th and 8 with the game on the line. You just can't do that.
Truth.
Yeah. I got nothing else to say. Keep pounding.
Well, one of the things is I would say like that play actually has an opportunity of making it, right? Is that you got a fast receiver. We've seen our players do this, get yards after the catch so often. And on top of that, we've seen other teams do it to our defense, right? So there is you can see how the play could have worked. But the problem is that there's no room for failure at that moment, right? Is that
very low possibility?
Yeah. Is that you need 8, right? So you just need to be. Every other time we've heard or watched football in our whole lives, what do they say when a receiver runs a 9-yard route but needed 10 yards to get a first down? Mm-hmm. They're saying you got to be more aware. So I was going to ask you guys, do you think that this was the worst game called by Joe Brady all year?
I still think that was last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I don't think that play. I don't think passing to the drag route running across that was covered and underthrowing play was Brady's call. That may have been a route that was in the play, but I don't think it was his call. 1.2 seconds to get the ball out, underthrow the receiver to this covered man.
But
that's 7 yards short where you did get to.
we know that Joe Brady's offense leaves those open receivers in the flat. Like we know that our offense is going to do that. Those kinds of plays are always going to be available. But if you know this, listen, make it a point to watch the routes our receivers are running. Okay, we will send guys down the field. I've seen DJ Moore do it, Curtis Samuel, Robbie Anderson. I see them do it. Okay, they run more than just those mesh concepts all the time. Our quarterback doesn't ever pull the trigger on those throws. So again, man, it's like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, man. Like if today was his worst game, it doesn't really matter because he's still limited in what this offense is going to be able to do because our quarterback isn't aggressive enough. So it's hard for me to say.
It in one other area too. Well, the one thing that stuck out to me was not that play, and I want to highlight some things in the conversation. T Money says that Teddy said he saw a defensive line stunt, so he tried to get the ball out fast. Trill One reports that Rule said he doesn't know why Teddy threw that pass, and Tim Estes says that the route is meant to just pull coverage, not to probably be the guy
number
one
receiver. Yeah,
I was actually thinking of this, and the reason I asked was it Joe Brady. I felt like it took a little bit of time for him to get into a rhythm of play calling today, right? And then we started to see they started running some of these reverses and doing some different things that I thought started to open things up. They were getting Robbie Anderson involved in some good ways. But I felt like when we got in the red zone, we would be like it would be like first and goal ultimately, but we would be 8 yards out, and we'd run the ball with like 2nd and 10, and I just didn't see a real opportunity for those plays to make a big difference. You know, like it seemed like you were using a hold down to just get 4 yards closer when 4 yards closer doesn't really change the scenario that much to me. You know, that's where I saw it. I just thought, man, there was a couple of times in the red zone, we were way far away, long down in distance. And I don't think you could have gotten a first down ultimately. Like, I don't think that first down is a potential. Why are you running the ball there? And I think that shows probably a lot of limitations or implies some limitations. And maybe you're trying to keep them honest. I just didn't think it was really all that effective.
In our chat room, Kieran Choi says on the play that Teddy Bridgewater took that sack, Curtis was wide open downfield.
Screeching wide.
Yeah, and that's the story of our offense this year, man. We have listen, Joe Brady is a good offensive coordinator, y'all. That if you watch the film and you look at the route concepts, we have good receivers, we have a good play caller calling the plays. It's just there are more opportunities, dare I say, missed opportunities. Huh? See what I did there? That Teddy Bridgewater is just listen. We've been trying our best to move away from missed opportunities, man. Now we have the equivalent of Ron Rivera as a head coach, the most conservative person ever. Like, come on, dude. It's old, man. Like, we want to be able to come on here and talk about more than just Teddy Bridgewater. And, we do a good job of doing that too, but it's glaring to anyone watching that we are so limited in what we can do with this guy under center.
Yeah, the part is that with Joe Brady, he called the deep balls. You can't force the quarterback to throw the ball while you're on the field. Like, you could say this is the primary receiver, but you could tell in that first half, Teddy was just afraid. So what ended up having to happen is Joe Brady has to adjust. You can't run a deep, post every time and hope that it works out in your favor,
I think today was one of the first time, though, in the whole year where I said that the offensive line really played just horribly.
Yeah.
Right. They're going. So in the past, I feel like a lot of people have been like, this offensive line is so trash. It's so trash. And I'm like, man, that's not what I'm seeing when I'm watching the game, and it's just the eye test for me. Today, they were having big-time problems, too. And so you couple that, is like it was a recipe for disaster. A team, and you know what, is that you got a coach, Nick Fangio, who's a defensive coach. This is how they're supposed to win today, right? You should have kind of been expecting that. And I don't think that the defense, I'm not torn on the defense. I think, and was it the caller said, like, they gave us in good enough positions. They played well enough for us to win. And they're not supposed to be our strength. That's what I think is kind of interesting about this, is that am I trying to say this defense has been good this year? No. But they have not been as bad as probably they should be.
They have given our offense a chance. They have given
I was thinking
us a
we should have played
chance
the defense on offense when we got the ball at the end. I was almost like, can we just trot the defense back out there? We got a better chance of scoring.
Yeah, man. I mean, really, our defense, they've done enough. They've done enough, man. I maintain we have taken good football teams to the limit. Now, bad football teams have also taken us to the limit and beaten us. But at the end of the day, when your defense is doing enough and giving you the ball back while you still have an opportunity to put points on the board and win, dude, it's on your offense and it's on your quarterback.
Yeah. Hey, we were talking about Carson Wentz earlier. He's going to be out on the trade block next year, y'all. Jalen Hurts is crushing
Go Philly, man.
the Saints right now.
Go
Did they score a touchdown?
No, I'm behind. They may not, but I'm pretty sure they're about to. They're 17-0 right now.
They're 9 seconds left. Oh, did they? They don't
2 seconds left. They're about to kick a field goal.
Oh, so I must be behind a hair.
Yeah, I'm behind too.
All right, let's go to the next call.
What's going on, C3 Nation? It's your boy Jay Anderson hitting up.
Oh, dang it. Yes.
Hey, man. -5. Hey, man. I already seen like a lot of Teddy apologists already backing off on Teddy being the future.
They're in hiding.
Except for Panther coach, he's still hanging on. But man, -5 gotta go, man. You see, he already doing this whole -5 ways with that delay of game in the red zone. Like, dude, man, I'm just enjoying this, man. Like, granted, I hate that the Panthers losing, but not like, man. We need to get away from -5, man, and go ahead and get. I think we should go ahead and fire the fire the GM, get rid of the GM, go ahead and pick another GM, Daniel Jeremiah or Rick Smith, or bring Dan Morgan back. Man, let's get Trey Lance or Zach Wilson, man. And move on, man. The defense had it bad, but man, come on, man. You playing different, man. Come on. Mr. Accurate quarterback Teddy Bridgewater, Mr. -5. What the hell was he?
I like it.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm loving this, man. I hate it, but I'm loving this. All right, y'all.
I love how it's become a joke with everybody now. Everybody's laughing about it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, really, like now the people defending Bridgewater, like, dude, you're on. That's a weird hill to die on, right there.
I don't think, we've been, the people who were defending Bridgewater, which is fine, I guess, but what they always said is he's just decent. Like, so it wasn't even they were defending that he was good. It was just that he was defending that he wasn't terrible. Now the Mugs are going to I guess you better be talking about that offensive line today. That's all you're going to be talking about is that offensive line. If that's what you want, right? If you want to somehow try to hold on to Teddy, that's what you're going to have to do. The number's 252-228-5098.
Hey, fellas, it's Jason calling from Colorado. Not a lot to talk about this as far as this game is concerned. It's been a couple weeks since I called, though, so I wanted to hit up on some of the general manager conversation. I mean, this week we got the loss. We are doing everything we can secure a better draft position. As far as the future of the team, that's great. I hate losing. Fuck the Broncos. I mean, even living here, it makes it all that much worse when we lose the Broncos, which seems like every time. I think all in the season, or I'm sorry, in the all-time stats of the two teams playing against each other. I'm pretty sure we've only won once. 1-7 now, I think it is. But anyway,
6, I think.
I appreciate Cody going out and compiling his list of arguments why Marty Hurney isn't the guy. And every single one of those points that you brought up has furthered my position that Marty Hurney is a good general manager. But that being said, I love the candidates that Cody came up with, especially Dan Morgan. I mean, as a Panthers fan, how great would that be to have Dan Morgan come back and help us out? But my big concern is what happens when we fire Marty Hurney and we don't get one of those guys that you brought up. What happens when we bring in somebody else who winds up doing a worse job? I think that kind of speaks to what CK was saying, where changing out your GM could be a big step backwards as far as the rebuild is concerned. But, I mean, I kind of wanted to reframe and contextualize what's been happening. I mean, you look at some of the things, I'll pick a couple of things that Cody was talking about with Marty Hurney, and that's the contract. The contract criticism that he overpays players at dangerous positions. And I think Tony brought up last week that the context surrounding that is that Marty Hurney was in a position where Jerry Richardson was pushing him to sign these running backs because that's the kind of football that he believed. Defense, running back, smash mouth. And so I feel like you're criticizing Marty Hurney for not whipping his dick out and doing whatever he wants in direct contravention to what the ownership is telling him. I don't think that makes a good GM. When you look at, there's only two pieces of our team that are still here from last year as far as coaching and ownership. And number one, Marty Hurney, and number two is Chase Blackburn. Today's game aside, I think our special teams unit has been one of the bright spots on our team. I think Chase Blackburn has shown his value as a coordinator. Marty Hurney's value is there too. I mean,
I think that
listen, can I make a parallel to something that
Mm-hmm.
we've already been talking about? So you mentioned there's no reason why we should be afraid of, like, we shouldn't play scared in terms of getting our quarterback, right? Yes. Is there a chance that we could pick the guy who ends up being a bust and sets our franchise back? Yeah, of course that is a possibility, right? But again, it goes back to this defeatist mindset. And I used it last year when we were talking about firing Ron Rivera. Like, all of the arguments in favor of either Marty or Ron are always like, well, we might not ever be able to do better than that, so we might as well just stick with what we have. And dude, I'm sorry, I'm not down with that, man. That's just a defeatist mindset. And more importantly, there's nothing that Marty Hurney has done good that could not be replicated by someone else. And now all the list of bullshit continues to pile against him. Christian McCaffrey, who does not see the field this year, Shaq Thompson, we can rehash all of this. The guy paid Teddy Bridgewater $63 million. Now, if Joe Brady says, you know what, I want Teddy Bridgewater to be the quarterback of the offense, that's fine. But you don't need to pay him that kind of fucking money, dude. Like,
well, I don't think the money's overboard. That's starting.
That you pay that much.
You gotta pay players the money that is deserving of that position. So if you're gonna be a starting quarter, like, you would be the worst agent in the world if you couldn't command starting money to be brought in to be the starter. I think if anything, I actually don't really agree with the money argument for Marty Hurney 2.0. Tentezi says Marty Hurney doesn't do the contract since 2 years ago when Tepper's boy came in. I think this is that Marty Hurney is, I don't think the money thing is a big deal. I think that was something in the past. Look, is that he made that mistake when it came to the running backs that year, but I do believe that was at doing what the ownership said. I also don't believe that Marty Hurney is a bad GM. Like, but I do think that, and I agree with Cody on this, is that what he does do is and it's kind of like Ron Rivera in a way, is that's good enough. We could go backwards. I don't think it's going to be, I don't think it would, how far backwards could you really go? Right? We've never had back-to-back drafts. Back-to-back winning seasons. The draft is that we went through the draft record, and you can read the tea leaves in two ways, is that he drafts really well in some cases, and he drafts really poorly in other cases. You could
just
say,
like every other GM on the face of the planet.
Sure, I do agree, but you can't say that his drafts have been phenomenal, right? Like, you can't say that either. So I do think I think the only argument for keeping Marty Hurney at this point is really he's just a kind of he's like not a fall guy, he's a figurehead, and it's really Matt Rule that is the guy designing the stuff. But I do think there is a real argument for bringing in somebody and potentially getting much better, like Cody is saying. And I wanted to ask you why a couple of names. What do you think about names like Daniel Jeremiah, right? You put together your list. They did not make the list. Daniel Jeremiah. I like Bucky Brooks. I can listen to him talk football all day long.
Yeah, I could.
He's super smart, and I feel like he knows football really well. And then I think he is the same kind of type of guy, just with a little bit more personality than a lot of guys have been naming the Louis Riddick. Any thoughts on any of those candidates, Cody, as being, hey, they could do it just as good, right? If not better.
I mean, I'm more of a fan of Bucky Brooks than I am Daniel Jeremiah. Every year, every year Daniel Jeremiah will put out his top picks, and I'm looking at the guys that he values above certain other ones. Like, look, man, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but fucking toot. I called Justin Herbert over Daniel Jeremiah. Okay, Daniel Jeremiah missed on Herbert. I didn't. I've seen him miss on a lot of people. He had Derek Brown as like a top 5 player on his big board, said he was one of the best defensive tackles he's ever scouted. I didn't see that shit at all, dude. So no, to be very honest with you, I mean, I'm not opposed to it in principle, but all the guys in media in media right now, like Bucky Brooks, Daniel Jeremiah, what's the guy who's an analyst?
Louis Riddick, the Monday Night
Louis
Football
Riddick.
guy. He's supposed to be people think he is like the smartest dude on the planet.
I'm not seeing that. I don't see that
Bucky
from him.
Brooks was a football player, right? I don't know if Daniel Jeremiah played football. He probably did. But,
yeah, he played quarterback, I think.
But like Bucky Brooks was actually like a good football player. And he's been a scout. He's been a
scout for the Panthers, I think.
Yeah, he was a Panthers scout. So it was I just like, I don't know if he would be. I don't know how you classify traits in a GM, you know. I don't know what and I don't know any of the guys that on your list well enough other than just say, look, I like Dan Moore. You know, he's got some good experience, right? He's been with some organizations that have done sort of what we're trying to do. Right.
All the guys on my list had a record of good drafts and signing good players in free agency. That's why I picked all of them, because they're team builders.
Can I ask you a question real quick, Cody? Then, because this week there was a tweet that went out, and it kind of made me raise my eyebrow, and somebody else had included you in it, all of us in it, about how Marty Hurney's record as a GM. And we were talking about, how could you ever defend a GM that has a losing record? Who would you say is maybe considered one of the best GMs in the game right now? Like, who are your top 3 GMs in the game?
I don't know, man. We're doing this again. Like, there's
I think it's valid.
All I'm saying is, I'll give it to you. John Lynch, I think, is probably what everybody would consider to be one of the best GMs in the league, right?
I think the
Well,
Ravens
Great
GM.
drafts.
I even like Philadelphia's GM. No, they sucked this year, but they also have a ton of injuries. And by the way, a lot of people wanted to bitch at them for drafting Jalen Hurts in the second round. Looks like that's kind of paying off right now. By the way, I also like how that guy values safeties over corners.
Mm-hmm.
The way they build their offense or their defense, rather, safeties are very important to them. And I've always noticed that a lot also.
They have one of the worst secondaries in the league, though. And they have for 3 years.
But they didn't when they went to the Super Bowl. They had good safeties on that football team. And they're also injured up and down the field.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I'm telling you, if you want to do, have me give you my best general manager, you're going to be able to find a bunch of misses.
We're not trying. Hey, look, I think first, slow down on the defensiveness, Cody. Nobody's trying to trip you up. We're actually, I think he's asking you a real question. And I do think I'll give you the names. I think Lynch is at the top of the list right now for me. I think that who's the guy that's been with Baltimore forever? He has been just tremendous at putting together a team all the time. And you want to talk about a guy that drafts great. Belichick, DJ, that kid says Belichick, and I don't know about Belichick. Belichick is great. I like how aggressive he can be at times. I think he is like a fantasy football GM. Like you see him making moves all year long, doing crazy, like big time moves. But he has not been. They have not been that great in the draft.
But
yeah, he's not a great talent evaluator. I feel like, but I think he's definitely got the GM aspect of things as far as moving people around.
Ozzie Newsome. Oh, so he retired. Okay, I didn't know Ozzie Newsome retired. I should have.
So by the way, in the chat, DJ the Kid 91 says Belichick's having a down year for the first time in 20 years. Belichick to me is still the best GM. I could not disagree more. I think he's the best coach the NFL has ever seen. But if you look at their track record of the wide receivers that they've drafted, the defensive players that they've drafted, a lot of their good players do come in free agency. He does not hit on a lot of those draft picks.
Yeah.
So I would never want a coach GM.
I'll let Greg say something. I have a question.
Yeah. I'm trying to connect this dot here because where I started with this question, I just wanted you to give me a GM because I'm hoping you say like John Lynch or Philly, something like that, which is great. I'll use those too. You know what John Lynch's record is?
Not good.
28-31, one winning season in 4.
But that's
also a lot of
do the Eagles have a winning record over the last few years? Or have they been a good team in the last few years?
They won a Super Bowl. It doesn't matter.
They won
it literally doesn't matter if you win a Super Bowl.
What I'm saying is you can't tie a record directly to a GM. You can't do that. That they have part of what it is to do with it.
I think
you can put talent on the field and not win.
But I'm not even just saying the record. I'm saying when I say the record, I don't mean wins losses. I mean his record of signing contracts and what those players did after they signed the contracts and the players that you draft. And I feel there's too much evidence of him being not good at those two things that he continues to double down on.
You know who I think a GM, and I don't even know his name, who should probably be climbing right now, is the Tennessee GM.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know? All right, let's go to the next call.
But I was saying that when people say that, I agree that if we were going to change general managers, it should have been done when we replaced our head coach.
I bet you we're doing it now.
It's foolish to assume that David Tepper doesn't know that. I mean, he's an incredibly smart guy, a self-made billionaire who's been involved in the NFL as an owner for a long time. He knows what he's doing. He's not stupid. So when you say that this was a bad decision, you're either suggesting that you know more about it than he does, or that he didn't have the balls, the courage to go out and cut a general manager because who knows what you're going to find, and coming from the guy with the big brass ball sack on his desk, that ain't it. So hearing you guys say, well, you know, Marty Hurney's not it. David Tepper made a mistake. That ship has sailed. You know, he's sitting back with the team. You don't know that. I mean, we'll see what David Tepper really thinks of Marty Hurney when it comes time, when his contract expires at the end of the year. We have to make a decision. So it's either he's our guy or he's not. And I'm not going to say that it's going to go one way or the other, but I think that David Tepper has made great decisions with the coaching, with management, with bringing people around. And I have faith in the guy. I have more faith in him to make the right decisions for the organization than I do fans. You know, so
I just don't.
Anyway,
that was first of all, that was code, Jason,
anyway.
for you guys. That's what that was. That was code for I got more faith in David Tepper than I got in you guys. I gotta disagree with this call. And thank you for your call. Thank you for all your calls. A big participant in the show. Not upset. I'm not sensitive. Actually, I am sensitive, but in this vein, I don't get sensitive anymore on this podcast. I think this is we can say that we disagree with the timing, especially if we replace Marty Hurney this year, which I think right now, the fact that you haven't extended him, I think he's leaving that window wide open to make a decision. Is that like he might not replace him, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I think there's a good chance that we do make some sort of change, maybe this year or next year. I don't know. Maybe we don't. But I also do have an issue with this, is just because someone did something really good in the stock market doesn't mean that they're always great at something else. So, like, I have the longest running podcast on the internet for the Carolina Panthers, but that doesn't mean I could be a good doctor. I would say this is maybe you would say I would be a terrible doctor because I can't even get this podcast to do that great. But I don't think that is, I don't think that someone, that means you're brilliant in every situation. And you could say Jerry Jones has made $1 bazillion and he's brilliant. Maybe they could be brilliant at certain things, but I know of many, people that talk about doctors who can't like fix their toilet, right? Or put a new sink, something that we see as mundane. I'm just saying this is just because you saw anybody, I could have told anybody if you just had to give me $1 billion that buying Citibank or whatever he bought, I think it was Wells Fargo or Citibank, he bought them at like $3. Of course, you're going to make $1 bazillion when you buy at the largest drop off in the stock market history, right? Yeah. So look, is he a good businessman? I'm not going to say he's not. He seems to be doing a lot of aggressive things with the Panthers, getting this complex. He's a big plans type of guy. But I don't know if that means that he made this decision in the best way.
Mm-hmm. No, and people have this mindset that like being a good businessman means that it translates into doing other shit well. I 100% agree with you, Tony. It was that flawed logic by people that have been saying forever that the president needs to be a businessman or whatever. It's all nonsense to me. Like, even if you're a doctor, like Ben Carson was a brain surgeon that was separating twins and shit, and he was like saying that the pyramids were meant to store rice. Like, being smart in one area or avenue of life doesn't mean that you're confident or smart in other areas. And by the way, to stay on track, out of all the people that have called in defending Marty, I have yet to hear one good point in defense of keeping him. I have not heard one point that's like, oh yeah, well maybe
you're downplaying all the good points. You're looking at everything good he's done.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. There are good points. You're just ignoring.
You acknowledge my
point?
I'm
not ignoring shit. I'm saying
there's one point that is
far outweighs the positive.
Okay.
Every GM, the list of negatives outweighs the positives. I guarantee you.
No, it's not true with every general manager. No.
I think there's only one reason to keep Marty Hurney.
I want to make.
There's only one reason, and that is because he works well with others. Like, that's the only reason. Like out of all the other things, I don't think anything holds water. So I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying if there is one single point that he's going to run his campaign for a contract extension is I can work with this billionaire and I can work with these coaches and give them what they want. I think that's what he's going to stump on.
Yeah, I was going to say that the point that I want to make is, Cody, you just said you didn't believe Bill Belichick was a good GM, but you felt like he was a good coach.
Yeah, he's proven to be a good coach.
Yeah. No, here my point is, what you're telling me is whether or not you hit on all your draft picks or not, your coaches are going to be more responsible for the success of your organization than your GM.
Sure. If the Carolina Panthers had Bill Belichick, Marty fucking Hurney could stay around. Sure.
What I'm trying to say is, let's look at those exact organizations you're talking about. You're talking about Baltimore. They have Harbaugh. You're talking about Kansas City. They have and whatever his name is, Andy. And then you're talking about the 49ers. They have one of your favorite people in the face of the planet, and Kyle Shanahan. What I'm trying to point out is, until you have a good coach, right now we haven't had a coach that has been consistent in our entire organization. And what you're doing when you're comparing those GMs you're talking about to those other GMs, they have good coaches. They have an established, organization that's going to take them to a good position. You can sit there and talk about the.
Why is that an endorsement of faith in Marty Hurney, though? Just because the Panthers have never had a consistent coach. By the way, isn't it the job of the general manager to hire the head coach?
You know,
so
that
if anything that goes on more on my side.
You're full of it. I have yet to see an organization. Yes, it is the GM who ends up pulling the trigger to fire, but I have yet to see an organization where the owner didn't make that choice. And I could promise you have never seen an organization where
the general manager has never made the choice to fire the head coach by himself. It always comes from the owner.
Tell me an owner that has not said, I want him.
I don't have a list off the top of my head, but it's a part of the job description.
Exactly.
You're
pulling the trigger.
The head coach. So you saying that Carolina hasn't had the head coach? That's another endorsement on Marty Hurney. I maintain I have not heard a single point from anyone.
Well, you just hired the same type of coach. I think Jerry Richardson was far more involved with the team than we thought for a long time. As we kind of looked at him, just because he didn't do interviews and stuff, as being this kind of distant owner. I think this is I think I agree with you, Cody, in this is that the worst thing that's going to happen is it's going to be a lateral move.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the worst thing that's going to happen is that I think you have to bring in a GM, even if you bring in the new one. What's the best argument for Marty Hurney is that he can work well with you, right? Mm-hmm. To me, I think that's the best argument. If I'm him, that's like the top of my resume, even beyond my draft history of good first round draft. Second thing I'm putting on the list is I draft really well in the first round, and I know linebackers. Linebackers, baby. But other than that, I think you could interview a host of people, and you would have to say part of this job requirement is working well with these dudes who are already here. So I think you're right in that it is replicable. And so if at the very worst, it's a lateral move.
Very worst, it's a demotion. We could get a really poor GM and then be set back for 10 years.
Yeah, and my thing is, I'm not defending Marty Hurney like he's some kind of...
If Matt Rule is the great coach, he can even overcome that.
Right. And like, I'm not defending Hurney like he's a great GM. I'm not by any means saying that. I just don't think that we have the worst GM in the league. I don't think we're in a terrible position. We can win a Super Bowl with Hurney. We've been to 2. How many GMs can you say have taken a team?
You've only been to 1 Super Bowl with him.
Marty took us to 1.
Oh, excuse me.
No.
I don't want to hear this.
Can you say have taken a team to 1?
That is, you're completely wrong in that. Every player that you can talk about on that roster of the 2015 that was our star players was drafted by Dave or
that's
drafted
not
by
what we were
Marty
saying.
Hurney.
Well, first,
that's
Star and KK weren't drafted.
But I hear what you're saying. You're going to say Cam Newton and Luke, and yeah, they were drafted by Marty. But we're also not going to pretend like K1 Short and Star Latulele and Michael Orr, who Dave Gettleman brought in
Kurt
free
Coleman,
agency.
Kurt
Yeah,
Coleman, Jericho
that was
Cotchery.
How many GMs across the board have gone to a Super Bowl?
No credit for 2015. Yeah, 15 years ago. What
You
have you
can't
done
say
for
no credit.
I
How
like
many-
to
how
say
many
this.
GMs take their team to a Super Bowl is what I'm asking. I'm willing to bet you maybe 10% of GMs that are in the NFL take their teams to Super Bowls.
Dimitrov was fired for the Falcons. He brought his team to a Super Bowl. Like whatever. We can continue to fire guys that have had one magical season as a general manager and then never replicated it.
I
Like,
think that
I think
keeping
one
Marty
magical season
Hurney,
is
I think
being
keeping
a
Marty Hurney
hyperbolic.
would be
Yeah.
equivalent to keeping Teddy Bridgewater.
Yes. You're accepting
You're wrong.
bullshit. Yes, 100%.
I've
You're
seen
wrong.
way more impressive things from Hurney than I have from
You're
Bridgewater.
wrong. You're wrong. I have yet to see Teddy Bridgewater win us a game. I have seen Marty Hurney actually win in the draft.
How about this? Teddy might have won if he had a better left tackle today. Michael Orr certainly wasn't the answer. And you know
Now
what?
you sound like a Teddy apologist.
No, I'm being real. Greg Little fucking sucks. Greg Little sucks. Russell Okung sucks. It's like, listen, man. All the most
And it might
important
just be time to
decisions
move
and the
to
most
the next phase.
So
Ooh, how
a
about
stronger
this?
left
Maybe we
tackle
should
would have
just
made
say
Ted throw it
this.
further than 2 yards on 4th and 8.
it certainly would have helped. I don't know if it would have. Listen, I
Okay,
don't know if it would have been better, but I know one thing: the guy that we moved up in the second round to draft is a healthy scratch 2 weeks in a row. That's an issue.
And
There have been
no
more
faith
misses.
has been listed by this team in him this year. Like zero faith. Not only has he been a healthy scratch the last 2 weeks, is that all season long they have seen him as the last potential option at that position.
And even when he's on the field, he's trash. He's absolute trash.
All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey, this is Kevin from Charleston. Listen, I know everyone's going to get on Teddy, and he fucking deserves it. You know, fucking every time when he gets the ball with 2 minutes left and needing the touchdown, this fucker he chokes. Oh, but fucking Drew Lock threw 4 touchdowns today. 4 fucking Drew fucking Lock. The guy who's not even worth 5,000 points on DraftKings just gave up fucking 4 touchdowns. That should be the main focus. I'm sorry, not Teddy. 4 touchdowns from fucking Drew Lock. I don't even know if Drew is his first fucking name. I think it is. I'm not sure. But 4 touchdowns? Come on. Something needs to be done. We need to get more draft picks or a backfield or something. But, yeah. Teddy sucked. So did our backfield. So did the whole team. Let's go get that number 1 pick and use it to, do something. I don't know. Peace.
I think, and here's probably an argument against Marty Hurney that's probably most valid right now, Cody, is that this team has so many issues still. Like, I mean, there's just too many issues to fit. We're not very close. And maybe we shouldn't be. We were old for so long. Maybe we pushed our chips in a little too much on that team 2 years ago or last year, whatever, where, basically we're old at so many positions. We've gotten young, but now there's still so much work to be done. So it's not like, yes, do we need second? Right now, there's so many questions. We did nothing to address our secondary this year. Like, absolutely nothing. We punted on the secondary, and I think that's actually kind of an example of us trying to tank a little. It's like, look, dude, it's like bringing in a corner here is not going to help but so much. Let's see what Dante has to offer in his last look. But we're far away, man. We are far away from being a super squad anywhere. Maybe, if anything, you might be able to fix the offense faster than the defense. And I won't even say fix it. I've actually been pretty pleased with the defense this year. Like, I think it's been, how about this, is we've had less experience and talent on this team, and we have been more competitive on defense than we were last year or the year before.
It's been surprising.
Yeah.
It needs to be better, for sure.
Sure.
But it has been surprising. Again, I'll say it again. Like, our defense has given us a chance to win a lot of these games. We are tied with the Chargers right now for the most losses by one score or less, So it's like, listen, this football team has a lot of good players on it. It also has a lot of young players on it. And we need to continue to build. But the first thing that you build is around your quarterback. And until we're able to get that guy, we're not going to be a perennial contender. And right now, listen, man, today is a W for us. We're in better position today than we would have been if we would have beaten the Broncos for a meaningless victory.
The things I want to say too, and I want to give caution to two things, and this probably continues to support the Marty Hurney isn't really an advantage for us. How about that? Can we settle on that? Right? Is that one of the things that we settled on with Ron Rivera? I felt like I came around to is that Ron Rivera is not a bad coach, but he doesn't give us a competitive advantage on his own.
I can agree with that. That's a good way to put it.
Is that like he doesn't win? Kind of like when Cody said you take Aaron Donald off the field, does it change the line that much? Like Ron Rivera is a good coach in some ways, but I felt like there is like he never was like out coaching the other team. Right?
Agreed.
And I don't know if I think so with Marty Hurney, I don't think he necessarily gives us a competitive advantage, right? And I think one of the things that goes back to this is I also don't even think that he's really that in charge. I think the idea that we drafted 7 defensive players, I don't think that that's Marty Hurney saying, I really believe in these 7 defensive players. I think it's the team saying we got to get young. I think it's the coaching staff, Matt Rule, saying we need to get young and fast on defense. And I don't care, it's just we can do that here, and I can work with them. The one other thing I want to – so I don't think Marty Hurney – if you say that this 2020 draft was so great, right, because a lot of people are going to say that this is a great draft, I don't even know if that's on Hurney all that much. The other thing I want to point out is I want to caution people for getting overly in love with the draft class after 1 year. That's how I felt in 2015. I was sitting there going, Dave Gettleman is a god. I will vote for him for president. And at the end of the 2015 year, every redraft had us, like every player was like a first and second round pick in the redraft, like after that year. Ben Wickery was awesome. Trey Boston was playing great. The Devin Funchess even looked good. But let's go reevaluate this class in 3 years. And I tell you one thing is Troy Pride he was looking a little silly out there at times today. I think Jeremy Chin is the guy that right now has this crazy ceiling. And Derek Brown has been fine. But I need to see more. 252-228-5098.
C3 fam, what's up? It's Blake B.
What's up, Blake?
After much deliberation, I have come to a conclusion. Teddy Bridgewater has the Jameis Winston issue. He's got a Jameis Winston problem. He needs to get his eyes fixed. Maybe he just can't see more than 3 yards downfield. I mean, I retweeted DK's tweet about Curtis Samuel being wide open in the end zone, or close to it would have been an end zone score. I mean, easy six. But what I think is, looking at the comparison that you guys showed, we were like 0-8, 0-9, like less than 3 points, one possession, something like that. It's almost statistically impossible to do that. So I'm wondering if this is strategy on Matt Rule's part to end the season to get that draft pick, to get that better draft pick, because it's seeming just a little fishy that we can be that bad on one possession losses. I mean, I don't know. Teddy, get your eyes checked. Pack up the minivan, or pack up the minivan and move back to Florida, where you came from.
This is
PJ time. Let's go. Keep
thanks,
time
Blake
and
B.
smash that like button.
That's it.
Hey, you
Smash
heard that, man.
thumbs up button like this. Smash it so hard you break your thumb. Look at this. Just looking at the transcript from this call, looks like Tony's about to take some bullets. Hey, leaders, we get the most shots fired at us.
Come on, Tony. Don't make me get you too, bruh. Don't make me get you too, Tony. Come on, you know David Tepper didn't hire this goddamn man to just be good to talking with other people. You can pay motherfuckers way less to do that. Dude, come on, bruh. This man makes the first round pick like no other GM in the fucking league. It's so important to make sure that first round pick is right and to make the right decision, whether to trade back, to trade up. Come on, Tony. Don't do this. I'll kick you off the chair too, bro.
Look, here's part 2.
All right, Tony. You just didn't got it. I got it. You got it again. You know what I mean? Like, don't you dare put Teddy motherfucking B in the same bracket as Marty motherfucking Hurney. Man, oh my goodness. Marty Hurney has gotten every single one of the fucking Hall of Famers from the Carolina Panthers in the Carolina Panthers. Come on. Man, you gonna make me disrespect my phone, dude. Like, on everything I love, man. Don't be, man. Hey, bro. Man, hey, we keep Hurney next year, and shit comes out looking really solid with Hurney, bro. Like, man, if I see you, we might have fun, Tony. We might have fun. That's all. And don't be thinking just because I'm in Cali, we ain't gonna be. I'm coming out there. I ain't been to a home game out in Carolina yet, but I was gonna be out there this week 1 with the Raiders. My mama a Raiders fan, you know what I'm saying? But it didn't happen. Obviously, we didn't have a game 1, but I would have been there, and we gonna cross paths eventually, bro. So, you know what I mean? You ever watching how you speak on my boy Hurney like that, on everything I love? That man's staying in Carolina. We need that man. We do. I don't trust anybody else to make that first round pick. I really don't.
You know what they got in California?
Hey, can I just say something real quick? If homeboy wants to come out and get stomped by my cripple ass, it can happen, bro. Marty Hurney needs to fucking go. And if you need to come out to Carolina in order for me to tell you that face to face, let's fucking go, bro. Marty Hurney needs to fucking go. I'm a ride for my man Tony Dunn, the founder of the C3 podcast. That Joker's gotta go, and I'm fighting every motherfucker who disagrees.
When you come here, please bring some of that weed you smoking.
Yes, do that.
Hey, here's what I'll say, Cody, and this is the only point that, like, right now, would you agree that you have yet to, like, my biggest issue with your arguments is you have not recognized what he has done well. Like, you have not acknowledged it whatsoever. Would you agree with that?
That noise.
Yeah, dude, I hear noise. Someone has like crazy noise coming with the computer. It's not me. I don't have nothing going on.
Amen.
Listen, man.
Was it me?
Listen, in the first round, he has been pretty good in his time.
Interesting.
Yeah, in his first round, he's been pretty good.
And that is important. You cannot miss on first round picks. I do agree with that. Is missing on a first round pick is far more detrimental than missing a third round pick. I agree. Continue, Cody.
Yeah, with that, I mean, look, like, listen, I maintain that, listen, if you want to give him credit for Cam Newton, fine. I argue that based on what Cam did at Auburn, it was obvious to anyone with half of a brain. I don't care how many idiots said, "Oh, play Bortles," or whoever.
No,
whatever.
it was Blaine Gabbert.
Anyone with a shred of common sense knew that Cam Newton was the best player in the 2011 draft at quarterback, and that's who we picked. Okay, if you want to say Luke, listen, say Luke Kuechly if you want to big up Marty Hurney, because not a lot of people wanted to draft an inside linebacker with a top 10 pick. But there aren't too many other times.
When you had two linebackers already on the team that were Pro Bowlers.
Right. Okay. So if you want to mention that,
That's a
fine.
good
I'll
one.
let you have that. I maintain I am not tethered to the decisions that the man made almost a decade ago now as the reasons why he should be the person pulling the trigger on our draft picks moving forward. Like, I don't
It's
see
not a
it,
matter
man.
of the like. It's not been just a decade, right? I mean, even up to this point, pretty much all of his, and you can, the jury's still out on Derek Brown, right? But even up to this point, every first round draft pick has been a hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every single one. Like, I mean, the reason that I say, like, what I worry
It
about
did him more
is
hit.
with the argument that you
I
have
love
is like
it.
it's so one-sided that you refuse to see the other side. It's very similar to politics. It's like being a Republican in this world. You refuse to see the other
I'm not
side.
denying the good things. I'm saying they're not, that they are replaceable. All of those good things can be done by
Why
someone
have
better.
no other GMs done that then?
They have. They're doing it now. They're
Really?
doing it now. You are not going to pretend like
What
Marty
GM has
Hurney is
20-year history of hitting on their first round draft picks?
hitting on their first round draft picks?
On every first round draft pick.
Stars on their first round draft picks.
Consistently every year.
That's what I'm saying. You're saying that
I can't
everything
say
is
what I want because
replaceable,
my mom
but it
is in the
hasn't
chat
been.
room.
We had David Gettleman, and it wasn't replaced.
Listen, I can name a bunch of general managers that generally pick good in the top 5. You're still arguing for the guy that only picks well in the first round.
No, Cody. The problem that I'm having is that, and like I said, I don't mean that this is not disrespect on you. I understand where you're coming from because you haven't been a Panthers fan as long as I have. I've been around when he has been making these decisions, and you're basically
over a decade ago.
Hold on. You've been saying these things, but you've also acknowledged that there are other GMs that are having that you like that make the exact same choices. There have been plenty of people.
Every single far less bad choices than him.
What I'm trying to say is that you're putting his accomplishments into a vacuum and then basically saying the only things that actually matter are the negatives. When in all reality, the positives matter a lot. And it is not duplicatable or something that anybody else can duplicate because it hasn't happened. I have yet to see a GM over 20 years hit on every first round draft pick that they've ever had. And every one of those first round draft picks that he's had have been a cornerstone to the building of our organization. And they've gotten us to the Super Bowl on 2 occasions. So not acknowledging that is also just being blind to the fact that there is a value to having Marty Hurney on this squad.
Drop your mic. Okay. Drop your mic.
No, there isn't. You're just wrong. There isn't any value to having him
acknowledging that it's a valid argument.
There are other general managers and scouts right now that could make better first round picks than Hurney. I don't give a fuck about the past. I'm honestly over with it, bro. Like, listen, if y'all want to keep him around, that's fine. I'm telling you, it is the bad move to make. Marty Hurney is replaceable. He pays the wrong players, and he misses far often than he hits. And this is a visual to even Joey the Blind Panther Esquivel. So I'm sorry, all the evidence is out there for everyone. He is not a good general manager. It's time to move on.
I think he's a good generator. I think you got to agree he's a good general manager. He's not a great one, and that's your problem with him.
No, he's not a good general manager. You're not going to get me to say that.
All right, next call.
Hey guys, it's Tyler with the Country Panther Podcast. I am just frustrated today, and in a way, I do hope that we keep losing so that we can get that better draft pick. But at the same time, man, I'm a fan, so every time I watch a game, I'm pulling for us to win, and when we don't, it's always a disappointment.
I don't think we got a choice.
But I do think there's light at the end of this tunnel in the fact that we do get to move up in draft position. Denver gets a spot above us because, if we – and I foresee this happening, that we lose out, and so does Denver. It just puts us in a better position overall. But I'm telling you guys, with Marty Hurney, we will not be drafting a quarterback this year. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. We're going to go cornerback or we're going to go linebacker.
No. Yes.
It's as bad as I want to draft a quarterback and as good of a quarterback class as I think this one is. I just don't see Marty Hurney pulling the trigger on Zach Wilson or Trey Lance or anybody like that. We may pick up somebody in like round 3 or round 4 or something like that, but I really feel like they're going to give Teddy another year. As unimpressive as Teddy was, the media for some reason keeps telling everybody that Teddy Bridgewater is a top-tier starting quarterback in this league. They highlight his completion percentage every single week without, the knowledge that most of his yards are rack yards, and these people really don't watch our games. It's just frustrating, man, but I'm telling you, we're not going to go quarterback in round 1 next year. It's going to be a linebacker.
I think we're inching closer and closer to it.
As disappointing as that is, I feel like we're still a few years away. But it is what it is, man. Keep pounding.
I'm disagreeing with that. I think that we're inching closer to it. If you would have asked me that 4 weeks ago, I would have said no. I think you're probably right. But now I think we're getting closer to. I think we're also getting closer to seeing Cody jump out of that chair, straight up, jump out of that chair and dunk on everybody. Look at Taysom Hill throwing this.
Dude, don't even use that.
It
was severely underthrown.
Hey, you can tell that Taysom Hill.
Teddy Bridgewater never in his life makes that fucking throw, dude.
I've seen
that is a big time throw.
Just like that.
And if you cannot say that that was a big time throw, then now he's the one with blinders on.
Did you see how long he had to? He had a 5-yard buffer on that receiver, on that cornerback.
He threw the right pass into the end zone for a touchdown.
If the guy had his eyes turned around, guess what? That's an interception, Cody.
Hey,
it doesn't matter. It didn't happen. It threw a touchdown pass into the end zone, damn near 50 yards.
Hey,
okay, if there's no value in that, then I don't know where there's value.
He's got a great arm. There's plenty of quarterbacks that have a great arm in this league and still can't actually be a good quarterback.
Okay, my favorite. Who's your favorite quarterback with a great arm that wasn't good? I have a favorite.
What you say? That wasn't good. Okay. Real quick, you're going to tout him for the touchdown he just threw, but you didn't say anything about the pick 6 he threw earlier.
Well, the game's not over yet.
I know, but he had a good pass on 3rd and 8. He had a good pass on 3rd and 8.
Getting better.
He had a good pass on 3rd and 8.
Losing to the Ron Rivera-led Redskins just
beyond 20 yards.
I want Philadelphia to win, man. Look, make no mistake about it. That it helps us in our draft pick.
Yeah.
But whatever. I think I'm right.
You always think you're right.
I know. That is true. I do always think I'm right. But I do end up being right. So whatever, man. Toot.
My favorite. I want please in the comments section. Favorite player with a great arm that wasn't a good quarterback.
You mean like strong arm?
You mean
dude, Jeff George. Like who?
Matt Stafford?
Oh, I would actually say he was a good quarterback, though.
But what am I saying? Like, has he gotten to a Super Bowl?
Okay.
Has he ever won a playoff game?
I think a lot of people say Jeff George was a bad quarterback, and that dude threw fucking lasers, bro. Oh my God, he would throw it through your soul.
TJ Walker like that.
Tony, QT0 said you missed his earlier phone call.
I'm still going through. Yeah, thank you. And also somebody said if I call in and leave a voicemail, will I get international charges? My guess is yes. So for people who are listening internationally, you can email me a voice file, carolinacatchronicles@gmail.com. And that would probably be the cheaper way of going about it. Let me see if this is the next call.
Man, what's up? This is your boy T-Money. This is T-Money 1993.
Oh, this is T-Money.
Again, it's easy to harp on what Teddy does, what he doesn't do. At this point, we all know what Teddy is. He's the bridge to the future. That's what he was when we signed him. That's what he is right now. The biggest disappointment
exactly what he was supposed to.
Was the secondary. I've been on those two
training
all year, but between this game and between the Kansas City game, it makes me regret to a certain degree not paying Bradbury, but I know to me, he wasn't a playmaker that wanted to demand that much money. But to me, the biggest problem in this secondary is the biggest problem on the team is the secondary, more so even than Teddy. Even if we had, whoever at quarterback, you can't be giving up those big plays, whether it's the KJ Hamler, whether it's the Jerry Jeudy. The secondary really disappointed me this game, taking out, of course, Jeremy Chin because he's a playmaker. But, yeah, we definitely need to.
I mean, look, is that here? I don't think anybody's going to come out here and say that the secondary is a source of strength on this team. But what have we invested in it, right? Like, it's supposed to be bad at this point because we have not put any investment into this outside of none. Like, tell me what we've invested in this secondary. You hold out and sign Trey Boston for at the last possible second, like as like almost like you didn't want to do it. Rasul Douglas is the number one corner on our team, and he was poached like after he got cut in week 2. We haven't yes, the secondary needs help, but that's almost to me like a duh. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, like duh, it needs help. Like we haven't done anything to try to fix it. It's almost like our offensive line. Like, duh, what'd you think it was going to be? We didn't. I mean,
I wouldn't say that we haven't done anything to try and fix it. It's just the things that we've done have not worked.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of Russell Douglas, Eli Apple didn't work. Dante Jackson was still up and down. He can't decide if he's a shutdown corner or garbage, just missing the most basic of assignments. Troy Pride makes some plays every once in a while. Stanley Thomas Oliver. It's like all these names that kind of just didn't or haven't yet panned out for us. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, moves have been made to try and fix it, but again, it's the wrong moves.
But they're
all
right, so they're not even real moves though. Right?
No.
Is that Eli Apple was paid a league minimum on a 1-year deal. That's not really trying to fix it. That's just adding a player on the roster that you really had zero faith in.
We all thought we all thought he was going to start this year. No,
yeah, we did.
Well, because of how terrible we were, not because of how good he was, but because of how damn awful we were. And on top of that, did you hear the reason why he's not on the team?
No,
I didn't. I heard Jonathan Jones report this, and he's in the know. He's in Charlotte. He knows a lot. He said that they cut Eli Apple because he kept saying he couldn't practice, and the doctors said he could. Oh, that's pretty crazy to me.
Yeah,
like,
then
he's
that's
just
bullshit.
a wussy. He's just a wussy.
We don't want you around.
Yeah. So look, but I don't even think like Troy Pride. Undersized corner, 3rd round, 4th round, whatever it is. Like this is like what Dave Gettleman did to address our offensive line. It's like just barely. Like I'm barely trying to. So I don't even think we've invested anything of note in that. We let the most proven corner walk. Zero money there. Eli Apple, bargain, discount, basement, scrap heap, crap. Stanley Oliver Thomas, you call it a 6th round pick. I think we would have been better saying the things we tried and they didn't work were Rashawn Golden, and he still was like a 4th round pick. Like we barely
Corn Elder.
Corn Elder was like a 6th round pick, dude.
No, I thought it was like third. I thought it was like
he was not above 5.
I thought it was like 4th. I'm gonna look it up.
No, he wasn't. And Corn
Elder
was
a
nickel corner from the beginning. Like that's not even trying to really do anything. You're not drafting a corner. You're drafting a guy to come in and play nickel. And you know what? He isn't even that bad. He's not terrible. He's not the worst player on the team. So no, we have done nothing. That's like saying we tried to fix the offensive line when it came to adding Matt Khalil. At least you paid him $50 million, but that's like the only thing. Like we have done nothing to improve our secondary legitimately improve it over the last 8 years.
Cornell was 5th round.
5th round. Okay.
overall.
See, that's like nothing. 5th round picks are like a shot in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. All right. Next call.
What's up, man? It's your boy QT0, all the way out here from Cali, man. All the way out from Cali. I'm out here in the garden. One sec, I got a second to call and say what's up, man. Hey, your boy Teddy Bridgewater ain't gonna be nothing but a goddamn teacher, man. I swear to God, this motherfucker. Why can't he just throw the ball out of bounds when you run out of the pocket already? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make no sense. This man's arm is just a fucking noodle. Like. I guess he's going to have to be here next year, but he's going to be out here next year teaching somebody and sitting on the motherfucking bench, whether it's P.J. Water and Trey Lance or, or maybe even we could pull a trigger and pull, a Trevor Lawrence, you know what I'm saying? Because I'd rather get this quarterback done thing for show in 1 year than having to waste 2 years of picking anyway on this motherfucker. You could trade a next year first, our first right here, and a second and a third or whatever it may be, you know what I'm saying? Because it's going to take some, some umph to get up to that spot and get it, or just go to the second spot and get Fields, and then maybe even fucking Trevor Lawrence might just deny the Jets. You know what I'm saying? If you want to know some real shit, he want to stay home. He want to stay with that Clemson, the Clemson clan and keep that. And think about conjoining the North and the South of the Carolinas. I'm in California and I'd be juiced about that motherfucker.
It would
So
be
you feel me?
perfect.
And then also to check out the motherfucking the coaching switch up at the before the halftime. You saw the defensive fucking running game coach over here taking over the sticks and sending them blitzes. It was working, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why. Like, I don't know if just Rule over here trying to check your homeboy, you know what I'm saying? Fucking our G Coach Snow, like, like, but, and one more thing, what the fuck is even a taunting? When was the last time you seen a taunting like that? Like, you see motherfuckers get hit left and right and then just jump up fucking juice, like, come on, dude. He didn't, like, touch the man. He didn't, like, push him down, like, if you
He
want to
did
talk
linger
about, like,
over at him
and fighting, like, Manhurts was the only motherfucker, like, really looking out for us. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, you already know, you feel me? Like, we got to get this quarterback, and we might even have to trade up to get him, like, you know what I'm saying? Think about the following of the Clemson, like, conjoining up with fucking, bro, I really think he'll deny a Jet to come to Carolina on the second
It's
pick,
not
bro,
going to happen.
on some real fucking shit, bro.
You can't. It's going to
QT0
be far too expensive.
over and out. Thank you, Tony. I fucks with you too, Cody. But you need to watch how you speak on your boy Hurney, man. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have some real problems. I don't give a fuck you sitting up in the little chair.
This must have been the first goal.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
'Cause
I
then
want
he came
smoke,
after-
everybody. I just want to say, if you want smoke, I want that same smoke. That's number one. Number two, I agree with everything you said, bro. Like, I agree with most of it. Look, this is okay. This is my thing, man. Like, I really, 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 and I think this is true for all of us, right? We want this quarterback position fixed. We all want it fixed. As someone who is a Clemson fan, I've thought about this shit so much. And listen, I know Greg sometimes likes to pose these questions, these yes or no questions. So I'm going to pose one to y'all. All right. Okay. Let's just say the Jets would be willing to trade the first pick. They won't. But let's just say, okay, would you be willing to trade our first round pick this year and go up to them and say, let's only swap first round picks. Let the Carolina Panthers have every other pick in this year's 2021 draft. And in return, we give them every pick in 2022 and every pick in 2023. Would you do it?
No.
Whoa. That's a lot of mortgage right there.
It's too much.
To draft Trevor Lawrence and have all of our picks this year to build around him and our free agency money. Would you take that deal?
No.
I don't think so. Because at least I would right now know that if we didn't pick him and we didn't trade up for him and he turned out to be a great player, well, we weren't in a position to draft him anyway, right? Because they're not going to tell us if we turned down that type of a trade offer, right? But if we did trade for that and we basically gave up the ability to build this team up over the next 3 years, because you need draft picks to do that.
For 2 years.
I mean,
that's too many.
Yeah.
That's like 14. That's like 14 picks. I give you 2 firsts and maybe some others. I would do this: is I would give every pick in this year's draft to get that.
Yeah,
one single year. That's it. 1 year.
So a whole year of drafting.
Yeah, I would do that. And the only reason I say that is, first, like, you're not giving up too many thirds, too many seconds. You do need to be padding position. Like, you can't just be out of a draft that long.
What if it's all right? What if it's a first and the second and every pick next year?
I don't think any team's giving up every pick for a year.
I don't have a problem with all the picks in one single draft. I don't. And the reason I don't is because of this. Is I think it's one of the arguments for Marty Hurney that people have made, is that drafting, hitting it in the first is worth a lot of weight in comparison to missing in other rounds. So I don't even have a problem with that, because like me missing out on my 5th round pick this year is not the problem. It's missing out on 2 seconds, 2 thirds, 2 firsts. That's a little rich. So I would say this is, I'll give you our whole draft this year to go up to number 1. I would be okay with that. And that's a little rich. And that's a little rich.
So your whole draft this year. See, I'd split the difference. I'd do exactly what Cody said. I'd swap picks this year, because let's say we're 5. They can still get a damn good quarterback at 5. We give them the 5th pick. We take the first. They take our first, third, or first, second, and third next year, and then the following year they take our 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. So we give them kind of the tail end of one draft 1 year. I don't know if they'd ever do something like that. I doubt they would. I just don't like the idea of giving up every draft pick for a year, because the thing about it is, you build a team on young players, and part of that is because of the contracts. The players you're picking are going to be on cheap contracts for years that are going to allow you to put veterans on the team. If you put veterans on the team, free agents, you're not going to be able to keep them for very long.
So, okay, but what I'm saying is, though, knowing that we're going to have more free agent money due to how many young players that we have on our team, we know the amount of dead money that's coming off of our books. We know that we have an incredible potential of talent in Jeremy Chin and Derek Brown and Arturo Gross-Matos. Like, we already have a bunch of players, right? That's what I'm saying. If we could have this one draft, if Trevor ended up being the best, or if he ended up being worth all the hype, then it would be so worth it. It would be so worth it.
Not 2 years, not 2 full drafts. That's too much.
That goes by so
there's too
fast.
many injuries.
Dude, it does. But like, when you think about, like,
What
it may
happens
go by.
if one of
those 2
these
years
guys
may go
gets
by
an
fast.
ACL injury? One of these guys gets an ACL injury. All of a sudden, Jeremy Chin, what if he gets an ACL? Derek Brown, what Brian Burns? No, you're in the Stone Age again.
When you get Trevor Lawrence, he gets injured.
It's not just a couple of years. You're talking about a decade worth of possible elite players at a position that may be needed.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about 2 years of drafting.
No. You're
could
not
play for a decade.
I'm talking about the guys who are going to be here for possibly 2 contracts, even if they play through their rookie contract. I mean, you're not talking about 2 years. You're talking about 7 to 8 years of those players not being able to impact our team.
You just mean not having more players on rookie.
Correct.
contract.
Yeah. The players.
No, I hear what you're saying. Look, it's steep, man. And listen, it's not going to happen. I'm just posing it out there.
Yeah.
Discussion. Like, the New York Jets are not coming off of the number 1 pick.
Absolutely not.
There's no. And by the way, the Jaguars aren't coming off of the number 2 pick. So it's like, it's not going to happen. I'm just putting it forward for the sake of conversation. I still think it would be worth it for that kind of quarterback.
I think giving up next year's number 1 is about as far as, and maybe, and you can tack on some 5. I don't care about picks in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. They are meaningless to me. And I know that you can get players there, but like, is that they just don't hold their weight in like, but I think that 1st and 2nd rounders, that's how you keep retooling, dude. And so you just can't give up but so many. So I just don't like, if I didn't have Stanley Oliver Thomas on this team, would I give a crap? No. Do I not care if we don't have Jordan Scarlett on this team? No. It's really those 1st and 2nd rounds that you, and I think that's the big stain on Marty Hurney right now is really Greg Little is the stain, and I think
Will Greer.
Yeah, but Will Greer is dumb.
Will
But
Greer
that
was never drafted to be a
moment.
franchise quarterback.
But then you shouldn't draft him at all.
backup.
Then you shouldn't draft any. I would never draft a
Right.
backup quarterback
I
ever.
get that, but
Like,
he
I
also
just
was
wouldn't.
the beginning of the 3rd round. It's not like he was a top, 1st or 2nd round pick.
But there's valuable
Right.
players in the 3rd round on a
There
defense
is,
that was
there is, but not
old
everybody
and
hits in the 3rd
slow.
round every year.
No,
I mean,
but still, why would you draft anyone with the thought of best case scenario they're a backup?
That too, yeah.
That I have
like,
a problem with.
one
If you
for-
want a backup, I'll go get you a backup. I'll just pick any one of those bums that's backing up any player in the league right now.
when
You know
we
what I'm saying?
drafted him, everybody on this show talked about how good of a move that was
Not
because
me.
of Cam Newton.
Not me.
Because of Cam Newton's history injury
Nope.
history.
Not
And
me.
whenever we had what was the backup we had that we claimed for years, the best backup quarterback in the NFL belongs on the Derek Anderson.
I hated him. I hated Derek Anderson. There's been no player I've really hated more than Derek Anderson. I'm blocked by Derek Anderson. Right?
Are you?
Number one, yes, Derek Anderson blocked me. Number two is I go check the tape. At no point did I say Will Greer's a good idea. Because you know what? Is that if Cam went down, guess what? You were going to suck anyway.
Yeah.
You're going to suck no matter what. Is that he ain't going to really do anything. The only way drafting a quarterback in that position is a good idea is if you believe they are good enough to make a splash to where you can then trade them and pull the Jimmy Garoppolo move on them. If you got Garoppolo'd, that's the only reason. Because if you don't really think that they're going to be the dude, if you don't think they could in the best possible world really be the dude, then they're only going to be holding a clipboard. So I would never draft a backup quarterback. I would draft a guy that I believe is going to be the starter and can be the starter. And then I would just find any schlub that's bald and fucking terrible to just hold the clipboard.
No, you have to have a serviceable backup.
And I disagree with you. He's had every opportunity there, Cody. I want to hear that argument.
No,
What
I'm saying is that Will Greer has not been denied anything. That after everything that happened to Cam Newton physically and him not being able to step up, Kyle Allen was an undrafted free agent. Will Greer had every opportunity to beat out him. He had every opportunity to beat out PJ Walker. He had every opportunity to be the quarterback that we went to next, or at least be in the consideration for the job. And he's never been able to do any of that. Now, I think that's one on Will Greer for not living up to his potential, but it's also on Marty Hurney for fucking drafting him. And Marty Hurney had a huge boner for him pre-draft. That's what all the websites said. It was a real thing. And it was a player that we drafted for no reason.
It's it's like Dwayne Jarrett bad pick. And Dwayne Jarrett was that's why I never and I know Cody's going to get mad at me for this because I hold grudges. I do hold a dang grudge. And when it comes to this is I ain't like if you name a wide receiver from University of Southern California, I want nothing to do with them. I want nothing. And you know who did that to me? Dwayne fucking Jarrett did that to me.
Mm-hmm.
I almost don't even want to ever draft a quarterback from Notre Dame because of damn what Clausen did. I hold a damn grudge. Let's power through these calls. My wife is going to be pissed, man.
Yo, guys, it's Nick.
Oh, what up,
hey,
Nick?
Question for you. So you guys are talking about the GM, and well, this past offseason we brought Luke in, and he's now a scout. And while I don't think that he would be a great fit for the role, but what if David Temper brought him in to be the new general manager? Let me know what you guys think. I know it would probably work out really bad, and he'd definitely be better off as like the defensive coordinator, but just an interesting idea. So.
Shout out to Robbie Switzer with Super Chats. He says, Rule isn't going to draft a quarterback. Don't get your hopes up. Ugh.
A lot of people hold this same mindset.
Why is that? What's the belief on that? Actually, let's address the call. Let's just address the call.
A lot of people don't feel that Marty Hurney is either going to pick the right quarterback or that I don't know. I really don't know where this comes from. I don't know what is stopping us from. I mean, maybe it's just because, which I understand this, like just not getting your hopes up because every year we want a certain player and we never draft that player. It ends up being someone that we don't, want with the first pick. So maybe that's what you mean. So,
what was the call again?
Yeah, I don't know.
What did Nick say? I'm gonna play.
Yo, guys, it's Nick. Hey, question for you. So you guys are talking about the GM, and
Luke Kuechly as the GM.
Oh yeah, okay. Luke Kuechly as the
So
GM.
this is why I wanted Dan Morgan to be our GM, because with Luke Kuechly as a scout in the building, Luke Kuechly can have someone to look up to that was literally in an identical position to him, was the starting linebacker for the Carolina Panthers. Injury concerns ended up shortening his career. He moves into the front office, becomes a scout, and works his way up and up and up. And I think that Dan Morgan would have been a perfect mentor and role model for Luke Kuechly as Luke transitions to this second phase of his NFL career.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that idea. I don't think that Luke is the GM aspect. Like, do you guys look at Luke and you think, oh, this guy has the ability to fire people and do contracts and all that stuff? Because you almost have to be heartless, and I don't think Luke is that person.
Well, I don't know. I know he watches enough film and knows enough football to be able to recognize the talent.
Yes.
But then I think, and someone already mentioned this too, like a lot of people don't even think that Marty is the one signing the contracts now, meaning there's another person in our building that has a job to do when it comes to signing contracts, firing people.
Yeah, I think that to be honest, I think we almost put too much of the draft on a GM. I think a GM really the scouts these guys don't have the time to scout these dudes outside of the top what they think are going to be legitimate places of need and players available. That's what the scouts do all year. Yeah. So I don't even think that having a GM that is a super scout is the number one quality
priority
for a GM. I would think this is that first, if your scouting department should be giving the write-ups and the profiles and highlighting moments in their career that they should look at, right? Like, this is my presentation on this dude, right? I think if anything, wouldn't you say that a coach is even more qualified to make decisions about talent than somebody who is, I don't think that's exactly what a GM does in all instances. I think GMs are more about scouting talent to identify talent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that, what does a good business owner do? He finds, or a good leader, they know how to identify talent, not like on the football field, but in the locker room or in the head coach. So then you go to the linebackers coach and you say, is this the dude or not? You tell me. And they said George Washington was like this. Here's a little history note for you. Is George Washington was never the most brilliant politician. He was never the most brilliant general. He was never the most brilliant statesman. He was never the best public speaker. He was never the best philosopher when it came to constitutional, philosophy of government. But what he was really good at is seeing people who were great at those things and then putting them in places where they can use their talents to their greatest potential. So I don't I don't even think being a good scout makes for being a great GM. I mean, it does help to be able to see talent and have guts and gusto. I don't think Luke has any of the experience necessary to give him that much right now. Look at how it's taken Dan Morgan 20 years, almost 15 years to get that pedigree. I think you got to earn your bones.
And he's still not a GM.
Right. I think you got to earn it. So I'm okay with Dan Morgan. I just think we love Luke, and we see him watching the tape over and over like he's grinding. It may be Gettleman. Maybe that was Gettleman's problem. Maybe he was too much of a scout and not enough of a GM. All right, let's go to the next call.
Yo, it's QT0 game, man. I'm literally in the middle of spraying my motherfucking plants, Cody. You had the nerve to say that nobody had a good positive thing to say about Marty, the GOAT of all number one picks, Hurney, on everything I'm motherfucking love. See, this guy has no bad first round picks. Which fucking team GM can say that? Why do you think that a smart man like motherfucking David Tepper would be like, hey, this man is pretty good on the odds because he's 100%. Come on, bruh. This guy does his fucking homework to the fifth power on fucking first round picks. And then we just let everybody else do the rest. And he just has his 2 cents in on everything else. Haven't you noticed these contracts being fucking legit with this whole Patrick Stewart dude and shit being all up in here helping out with that and fucking
contracts?
The rest of the contract shit? Come on, bro. I swear to God. Bro, I'll kick you off that chair, Cody. I will.
Come at me, bro.
Right.
Bro, listen, you don't draft a one technique with a top 10 pick, just like you don't pay a running back the most at his position, just like you don't let your homegrown cornerback talent leave in free agency and ball out somewhere else, just like you sign your franchise right tackle a year before the market explodes, and you damn sure don't sign Teddy Bridgewater to $63 fucking million, bro. And nothing about those contracts good. And listen, if y'all want to continue to hang on to homeboy just because he's good in the first round, fine. There are other people who can make good first round picks, dude. You have to stop pretending like we have some gem who is irreplaceable because of his picks in the first round. It isn't true.
I think the coaches need to play, and that kind of goes to my point too. And this is why I don't have any problem with firing Marty Hurney. And I don't think he's fired for poor performance. It's just for okay performance, just because you show up and you're a warm body. But I think the coaching staff, I think bust in the first round is equally prevalent on a coach's staff ability to evaluate talent as well. Right? Is that, I mean, it's not just Marty Hurney meeting with those guys at the combine. So I think that a first round bust is a failure for GM. And yes, it does happen, and it happens more often than people give it credit for. But I think it's a failure on the entire organization. All right, pounding through the calls. My wife.
What's up, man? I'm calling just to give y'all a little bit of credit on your podcast, because there's a lot of weak-ass Panthers podcasts out there, like Keep Pounding TV. He's a flip-flopper. He's worse than a whore.
God. Holy moly.
Thank you.
Wait, what was that? Wait, play that one more time. What was that last line?
You didn't hear the last part? Oh
no, I didn't hear the last line.
Listen.
What's up, man? I'm calling just to give y'all a little bit of credit on your podcast, because there's a lot of weak-ass Panthers podcasts out there, like Keep Pounding TV. He's a flip-flopper. He's worse than a whore.
Say he's worse than a
whore. Big Cat put on Twitter today. He was done with Bridgewater.
Oh, already?
I know. Before the game was even over, man, he had fucking cut bait, dude.
All right. Next
he had 5 on it, bro.
Yeah, he had 5 on. I'm wondering who he had that 5 on.
Why does this feel like a win? I don't know why. It just feels like a win.
It does. It is. It is a win. It's a win.
But we got 5 on it, bro.
Yeah, is that I did. The best thing is that it's like being exposed, right? Teddy's been exposed now. He is who we thought he was. Next call.
Bad Daddy and Cody all year is that, yeah, Teddy is not perfect. He's not the guy. He's not the franchise quarterback. But we watched too many bad quarterbacks to just act like Teddy is just the worst ever. I've watched Jimmy Clausen. I've watched Taylor Heineke. I've watched Vinny Testaverde, Rodney Pete. I mean, they should be old enough to remember those guys to, like, try to act like that about Teddy, man. And as far as when y'all bring up Will Greer, I knew Will Greer wasn't the dude when I went to training camp and I seen him pump fake 3 times on a screen pass. I said, oh no, I never want him to be my quarterback. But as far as the team, man, again, it's like we had expectations at the beginning of the year, but then once the year started, we just forgot all those expectations. Who was predicting us to go to the playoffs? He was predicting us, like, we all were saying the same thing. Anywhere from 4 to 7 wins as far as the year, be picking high in the draft again, either get our quarterback or if not. And just for y'all, I really hope, and it would be really ironic, but I really would laugh, if, yeah, we go ahead and draft our quarterback. Even if we draft your boy Trevor Lawrence, who Cody has wet dreams about, hopefully we draft him, and then he sits behind Teddy at least, 4 games, half a year. That would all be good, and I'll definitely be laughing. Because Joe Brady and Matt Rule might do something like that. But other than that, man, keep pounding. And Cody, you said you want all that smoke. Well, you really don't. Because I kick way harder than Brandon trying to kick a game-winning field goal against the Giants.
Let's not compare Vinny Testaverde and Jimmy
I
Clausen
want
to
that
any of this.
smoke.
Vinny Testaverde was recruited off of his couch after we got somebody got injured, whoever it was in 2007. That would have been Jake Delhomme, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vinny Testaverde was 44 at the time. He also has thrown a career of 46,000 yards.
Yeah.
Right. And he had 275 touchdowns. He is far better than Teddy Bridgewater ever was. So
and yeah, let me add to that. Jimmy Clausen, out of all the quarterbacks you just said, I think was the worst one. Rodney Pete wasn't terrible,
he
Jimmy
was also
Clausen
40 at the time, Pete.
Exactly. And Jimmy Clausen won 1 game, which is 2 less than Bridgewater's one, with a way less talented team. I'm not defending Jimmy Clausen. I'm just saying it's not like, you're right, Bridgewater may be better than Jimmy Clausen, but it's not like he's that much better. I'm pretty sure Jimmy Clausen probably, well, I don't know. I wouldn't say
we had to hear every scout. Everybody was wrong on Jimmy Clausen on television, right? When who's the guy with the slick back hair he's not as popular as he used to be? Mel Kiper? Something Kiper.
He
used to be like the super draft guy. Like he was the only when there was just less media coverage. Now it's just too big for it to be one guy. But he was pounding the table saying he's the most pro-ready quarterback in the whole thing. Like this is a failure. This is why I say Jimmy Clausen is a failure on an organization, not only just the GM. It's also probably something that Cody would have the biggest problem with, and that is a lack of guts. A lack of guts to challenge just what talking heads are saying. And I got to tell you this, is that I could have looked at Jimmy Clausen. You look him in the eyes, and he looks scared. He was a scaredy cat, and he was stupid. That was the other thing. He was dumb. Like, mental. Like, he just wasn't smart. Yeah. So when you're not a good athlete and you're not smart and you're scared, you're not going to make it in the NFL. Next call.
Podcast brothers, how y'all doing? This is G. Cavassier. Hey, man, this game pissed me off once again. And I'm going to be honest, man, Teddy surprised me in this game. I really had a feeling that the cardiac cats were back because in the first half, my opinion, we really didn't do that much. Second half, them boys was balling, so I give them that. That 4th and 8, why in the living hell you going to Curtis Samuel? All them other damn people, man. I just don't get it, man. Like I said before, Teddy is the damn problem. This dude will not throw downfield like that. Every now and then that he does. And let's be honest, Denver does not have any safeties that can keep up with Curtis Samuel. I know DJ Moore got COVID and everything like that, but for the love of God, man, it seems like they kept throwing to the same damn people. Robbie Anderson should have done a fly route, if anything, or fly and then curl back in, whatever, for like 15 yards or whatever, man. I just don't get it, man. I don't know if it's the play calling or something's just not right. And I said it once, I say it again. Fire Phil Snow. My defense, it showed up in the second half, but them boys look a mess, man. Give me your thoughts on that, man, because now we're down 4-9. We're not going to the damn playoffs. And like I said, I thought we were going to be fighting for that extra wild card. We're not going, unfortunately. So right now, we need a new quarterback. I don't give a damn. I don't care what anybody says. We need a new quarterback. Teddy is not cutting it.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're not going to disagree. The defense was a little let down early in the game for me. I actually think, we blitzed more today. So Phil Snow's even learning on the fly. Give him more time. I'll reserve my decision on this defense after next year. I think though that Phil Snow has the most experience out of anybody on that whole entire staff in football. Yeah. So I don't know if you want to just necessarily cut bait right away. Next call.
What's going on, C3 Podcast? It's your boy, Rude Boy Music from Twitter. Yo.
Oh, that's one of Eric.
I'm so glad we lost. Fire up that tank, baby. Fire it up. Let's go.
Fire it up.
Let's go. I got dibs on the defense to fill this motherfucker up. Let's go. Yo, listen. A few things here before I get into the negativity. Jerry McKinnon, man, bro. I can't remember outside of Luke Kuechly and Julius Peppers, a defensive rookie that we've ever had to come in just to have this type of impact. It's crazy. And it's the thing that's so rewarding about watching Jerry McKinnon play is that it's not garbage time. It's not garbage time plays that he's making. It's high impact situational plays that's changing the tide of it, changing the momentum and situations of the game. It's amazing to watch. Really, it really is amazing to watch. But then, right in the midst of you getting excited about Jerry McKinnon, you have to watch fucking Teddy Bridgewater hold this motherfucking team. Bro, I don't even curse like this, but I'm so fucking tired. Again, I see that the wheels have officially fell off of the Teddy Bridgewater fan club. Fuck you. Listen. But everybody that's been talking shit about the C3 Podcast and everybody that's been telling these people that Teddy Bridgewater ain't the answer, fuck y'all and don't try to jump on this tank wagon, bro. We're not trying to tell y'all that this fool is not a franchise quarterback. That's it. That's all. Nobody ain't saying he's a good dude. He's not a minivan. Okay, cool. Awesome. But this dude is not a franchise quarterback. This dude does not understand situations. Bro, fourth, and I gotta catch my breath. 4th and 6 and 4th and 9 and half, and he's still fucking thinking about his 7 yards behind the sticks. Bro, take that shit down to South Florida. We don't do that shit in Carolina, bro. No. I don't accept mediocrity anymore, man. We've been doing that shit for 26 years, bro. No. It's a wrap. It's a wrap with Teddy Bridgewater. We're trying to see for the rest of these 3 games because we don't got to play for. Put people in the in. We already see that Will Ferrell was a wasted third down pick, which is fucking stupid, and Marty Hurney. That's another fucking situation to talk about. But, Matt Rule already said he
I still can't get over T-Money. I mean, look, I'm not trying to say Vinny Testaverde is the greatest quarterback in history. But I think for someone who played from 1987 to 2007, 20 years, to say that he's worse than Teddy Bridgewater is, I think, a little bit of sand in the face, homie. a lot of bit of sand in the face. And to be honest, after watching those Panther teams when we had whatever Moore, whatever, all those scrub ass quarterbacks at that time, Vinny Testaverde and Keyshawn Johnson were both like 40s. In their 40s, homie, and they brought more life to that offense for those 4 games or whatever than anybody else. Vinny throwing downfield to Keyshawn, man, it was like they're reconnected from back in their days in New York. All right, next call.
But by the way, that's
Well. What's up?
To him. That's my guy from Twitter, Eric LaShawn. And yeah, no, that was a great call, man. And I'm happy that someone's giving us our credit, man, because this podcast was right on a lot of these issues before a lot of other people, man. So appreciate the love, bro.
Well. Remember how I said it wasn't really on Teddy Bridgewater this time and we were all playing like shit? Well, I think I have to change that statement because in the fourth quarter, that was on Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he was the only reason we lost this game. It's not as bad as the Vikings game. But the dude can't throw deep.
He can't throw a
He
touchdown.
just can't. And, we had to get to the 37, right? This jackass throws the ball to Samuel, and he only could get to the 31 before getting tackled, or was it the 32? But that shit doesn't matter because it's still 5 yards short because Teddy's limp. You know what? Can't play football worth of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, guys.
How the
I'm on
Eagles
put
gonna do
PJ or start PJ Hill.
No.
Or I'll go on the hill or the train, whichever one comes first.
might
But
win with
I kind of want to
PJ.
go somewhere, so I think I'll go on the train. Anyway, guys, that was bullshit. Everybody knows it. All the fans know it, except maybe Brandon Herbert because he doesn't know anything about football. But anyway, wow.
All right.
I love it.
No, is that right now does anybody think we can win a game going for? I don't think we should be favored at all, or anybody should expect a win. And if it is going to come, it's going to come against, you would think, the Washington football team. And PJ would actually be the only chance we have of winning that because he's super mobile. Next call.
Yeah, man. I tell you, dude, Chase Young is about to have a field day with whatever poor soul we tried out at left tackle.
Oh, God.
Dude, they just scored a touchdown, man. The Saints are down.
But there's only a minute and 24 seconds left.
Like a fucking lazy
but
bean.
they're gonna onside kick it, man. Holy cow.
Shit. And you already know who the fuck this is. This is bullshit. This is what they give us. This is what they fucking give us. They get rid of our fucking franchise QB for this shit. This is a slap in the face. They committed murder. They're a bunch of fucking liars, bro. And I'm about to be in tears because this is bullshit, because I'm an actual real fucking fan. I sit down every goddamn Sunday, Monday, or Thursday, whenever the fuck this team plays, and for over 17 years, bro. I'm up to 17 years cheering for this fucking team, and this is what they give us. This is mediocrity, David Tepper, and fucking Matt Rule, and Joe Brady. This is mediocrity. Teddy Bridgewater shouldn't even be a fucking starter. This is blasphemy. This on Jesus fucking sandals, my niggas. I swear to God, if I ever go to Carolina, it's a fucking wrap!
Damn.
Next call.
By the way, he told me
What
to
it
drop
do?
bomb, and I'm totally not sure what his complexion is either. But I feel the energy, man. Look, it's shout out G Baby, man. It's rough out here.
He's got his flip flops up.
It's what I look forward to.
All right, let's see.
What it do, boys? It's your boy Mike.
Oh, did our
AKA Supremely Cause. Back in the digital flesh. love the podcast, guys. Since I found this podcast, a few months ago, it's what I look forward to every Sunday and Tuesday.
Thank you,
I
man.
got to say that. So, props to you, fellas. Do what you do, baby.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah. So, I had to work today, and I pulled my good old 18-wheeler
I think Saints
over to
recovered
the
by
side of the road at a rest area, to catch the game cast on ESPN. And I'm like, defense is doing a oopsies, but, we got a chance to come back. Nope. Good old check down Teddy. Oh, man. Well, this should move us back a few spots in the draft. Hoping for like a good corner or a good O-lineman at this point. But if we keep sliding back in this draft, I think it's time. We are failing at quarterback. We're failing at the back end of the defense. And this time management thing, like, the game's not over yet. It's only 2 minutes, but we have no timeouts. But they were calling timeouts with like over 3 minutes left in the game. I thought they would save at least one. They didn't even save one. They could have saved two and took it down to the 2-minute warning and still would have had 2 timeouts to play with. And maybe have another chance if a defense got a stop to come back again. Probably not, but I mean, God, that's just horrible time management, man. I'll be tuning in, guys. Hope Panther Nation is doing all right. I love the little battle y'all did this past Tuesday. Keep pounding, guys. Just keep pounding. Remember that. Panther Pride.
Yeah, thanks for the call, man. We appreciate your support. Stay safe on those highways. And on top of that, guys, why didn't no one come up with this whirly-gig kick earlier?
I was wrong, by the way. It didn't work.
Philly recovered it.
They shouldn't have. It looked like from the film that the dang New Orleans guy did.
Yeah,
I don't know what happens under the pile, but I tell you this is why didn't whoever thought of this spinny kick thing is brilliant.
Yeah,
that is like
might have been a rugby guy.
It is like you're scared to touch it, dude. It's like spinning like a fucking top, man, and it's flying. Good God. All right, next call.
What's up, C3? It's Nova Black.
Oh, what's up?
I'm on the highway towards Atlanta. I gotta go tend to some business and head back home to Augusta as soon as I'm done. When I'm watching
Congrats
the
on the
game,
new
when I'm
job.
listening to the game, it's on my phone. I'm not watching while I'm driving, but I'm listening to it. And it's crazy because we got the ball, and I still don't think that we got a chance in hell to win this game, even though we just got the big stop on defense. Because Bridgewater, man, with Cam Newton, at least you got some kind of damn hope because he's a one-man fucking show that you can still win this fucking game. Well, keep all that damn talent. I don't believe that we can win it with Bridgewater because game after game after game after game, he has proven that he can't lead the team to a fucking win. He's proven that he's just an average quarterback. I don't know what's up with the dude. Why he can't read the field as fast and clear as everybody else, I don't know. But either way it goes, that dude ain't no franchise quarterback. I don't give a damn. Trade the farm. Trade CMC for a top first-round pick. Get in front of the Falcons. Get Justin Fields. Get Trey Lance. Hell, if you can get goddamn number one, fuck it. Go get my man Trevor Lawrence, man. Anybody but Bridgewater. Hey, you know what? As a matter of fact, if they don't get a quarterback, I'll be happy with PJ. Damn, give the man a chance.
Wow. Nova Black, who is usually very calm.
Mr. T Money says Teddy is a top 5 to 7 Panther quarterback. Well, many franchise quarterbacks have we had? And there's no.
He's a top 5 to 7, and
Top
we've
5 to
only
7
had Cam Newton and Jake Delhomme, and Jake Delhomme is of the only people that are worthy of any note in our organizational history.
Listen, Tim Lynn is straight up playing difficult. I've already said to him a million times, if he wants to count those bullshit yards after the catch, meaningless yards, fine, bro. He's an all-time fucking great dude. Like, that's not fooling anyone.
Yeah.
But by the way, on Nova's call, though, listen, I think we're all feeling the same things.
Mm-hmm.
We're all looking forward towards the future. And today was a good day, man, because not only did Atlanta lose, which means that the Chargers won. So even though right now we have the same record as the Chargers and the Falcons. So that's still going to even its way out. And the fucking Eagles just pulled off the upset, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's better for us too. So it's like, listen, man, today's a victory. Today's a good day. Be happy about it. You know you're going to have our asses to be able to bullshit with after every single game, man. We love to do this. It's happy times, man. We're building. Everyone knows Matt Rule isn't great in the first year. And then the second and third year, he becomes this fucking godly evolved Pokemon. And that's what we're waiting for, dude. And that's what's coming.
Would you?
Bro, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
What about our first round this year? Swap, right? So we swap our first round with the Jets. Our first round next year and Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. Fuck
CK?
yeah, dude. Just a one.
Christian McCaffrey, that actually makes a lot of sense, Tony. That's getting a big, because they're gonna have to take his contract too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not gonna do that.
That's
They're not gonna do that.
They wouldn't do 2 first-round picks and Christian McCaffrey?
No, they wouldn't.
Oh, wow. All right. Next
Because
go.
they're not. They'd have to absorb that contract.
But
Now
it's
they
not
have,
that bad. It's not that bad. They got plenty of money. They always got a shit ton of money.
I don't think it's about that. I think it's about the exact same thing that happened with Le'Veon Bell. I think they're not going to do that. Period.
Okay.
That's a good point.
All right,
Yeah,
next
that's a good
go.
point.
Get the fuck off the field! Get off the fucking team! I'm done! Get off the fucking team! Cut this motherfucker! I don't give a fuck what it takes! Eat the fucking money! Get him off the fucking team! I'm done!
Yeah.
This is pathetic!
Bridgewater.
This was early in the
Get
game. I
off
think.
my fucking team, bruh! Get the fuck out of Carolina, motherfucker! Get off!
Next go.
I can't do it no more. I can't fucking watch this shit no fucking more. I'm done. Teddy fucking Bridgewater is gonna give me a fucking heart attack. I can't stand this motherfucker! Check down, I'm done, bro! Can't fucking stand this motherfucker, man! And now a punt return because this bitch couldn't get it fucking first down, man.
Next go.
Please let someone come forward and say that they're a Bridgewater guy. Please. Come on. What is that, 3 sacks in the first half alone? I'm not even through the first half, and this is just atrocious. You know, that last sack, we were almost in field goal range, and what happens? He goes down at, the 35? Come on, Teddy. Sit down on the bench, put in PJ, let's see what he's got.
All right, next call.
What up, C3 fam? It's your boy Tim Tizzy calling in. I gotta end
What's
this
up,
shit.
Tim?
I am so tired of hearing this Marty Hurney contract shit. He don't do the contracts. The dude's name's Samir Solomon or some shit like that. You gotta cut this bullshit with the contracts. All right, fam. Keep pounding.
All right, last call.
All right, Tony.
Wait, we already heard this one.
You-
All right, we're good. All right. Woo. That's the C3 Panthers podcast finishing strong. My wife invited people over for dinner tonight, and they're here, so I got to get to going soon. All right, guys, what's the game ball? Who are you giving it to? There's got to be somebody that deserves it.
Jeremy
The chin
Chin.
check. It's the chin check, right? Is it Jeremy Chin?
Chin. It's still Jeremy Chin.
Yeah.
It's a unanimous Jeremy Chin, bro.
I feel about it, bro.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a. I could give him that.
He almost
What
got an
about
epic
Joey
touchdown
Slye?
there at
Yeah,
the
he
end.
did.
Joey Slye with the
Tony,
redemption game.
you probably don't even have time to post it. That's fine. I did post a picture in our Twitter chat. It's the picture of the Curtis Samuel wide open before Teddy Bridgewater takes the sack. I mean, dude, Bridgewater.
Hold on.
If the ball is thrown to him, it's to the house.
God. Okay, here I'm gonna go for it. Let me see. Make this picture bigger. Let's see featured images.
I mean, you couldn't tell watching the game how bad it was until you see the pictures of how bad it was.
Yeah, it was wide open, dude. Screeching wide open.
Browser, Windows capture. Here we go. I'm getting close, guys. I'm getting there. Window. Okay, listen. I'm not fast.
Oh, and Washington beat San Fran today, y'all. Or they're about to.
It looks like they're about to, yeah. Which, by the way, who coaches Washington?
Put
that out there.
Here it
better
is.
Record better record than this year with a worse team. Just want to put that out there.
By the way, yes, Nick Monteiro, this is the one that you sent me on Facebook.
This
bro.
thing, it does. This is not a look you want to have. You know what? I think this. You know what? I don't think he thinks that's open.
Dude, look how.
Do you know why? I don't think he's got the mustard to get it there before the safety does.
Bro, and but look, the free safety is cheating to the left.
I know.
He's moving
He's a
away
scaredy cat,
from
dude.
Samuel.
He's a scaredy cat.
That is inexcusable. Bro.
All right. It is the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We're live every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Longest running Panthers podcast. I was just talking to somebody. I was a guest on their podcast. This was months and months ago, the B&B something. I saw him out last night, and he was like, so much work. This podcast, it's a lot of work. And I was like, yeah, how many you done so far? He's like, we're on 35. I was like, bro, keep grinding, man. Because we've been doing this for damn 8 full years, haven't missed a Tuesday. Now we're adding more segments. We doing more. And you know what? We ain't going to shut up. We ain't going to shut up. That's it. We'll be here on Tuesday night. The number's 252-228-5098. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. Cody, how can they get after you, my man?
On Twitter at CodyLac, CodyLac. You know me, man. I'm cutting up. And this Wednesday, there will be a brand new mock draft on drafttech.com. Listen, man, follow drafttech.com. I put a lot of work into the comments that I write for the website. Pretty soon, they're going to go up every week instead of every 2 weeks. And as the Panthers have a better and better draft pick, man, I'm going to have more and more interesting shit to say about that pick. So, yeah, holla at your boy.
CK, man, on many streams?
Yeah, you can find me on facebook.gg, Codizzle Allen. You can find me streaming mostly Warzone, play with a couple of really cool people. So if you guys want to check me out there, Twitter, Instagram, I put up a new TikTok not too long ago. It's pretty fun. So, yeah.
All right, and Greg, man, on many podcasts.
You can find me at the BatDaddy52 on Twitter is my personal handle. Check out the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network, where you can find all my shows except for that I'm involved with, except for this one. And we drop shows 7 days a week, and I'm usually on at least 3 or 4 of them. So check me out.
All right, smash the thumbs up button, subscribe, check us out, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Do me a solid before Tuesday. Give me a follow on Twitter. Follow all these guys on Twitter. Call in 252-228-5098 and tell a friend on social media about the podcast. Not that hard.